I'm your host, Ben Pappas, and it's great to have everyone. It is Friday, and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. We're going to get into it. So we've got very interesting stuff going on across the world. Got some updates that we're going to cover. We're going to be discussing, first of all, how do you deal with change? How do you deal with a situation when things around you are disrupting and they're changing? And we're going to take a deep dive into the lessons of Bill Walsh, former San Francisco 49ers head coach, and his leadership lessons and what made him take a 2-14 team when he inherited it. And it took him a few years, but he turned it around and won 3 Super Bowls. And the real world lessons you can take away from that in the chaos that we see in today's world. And again, here in the Ferocious Optimist podcast, the purpose is to upgrade your life. So we are going to be looking at the context across the world, the current situation, what's happening, and then what can we do about it? Because one of the most important things is to know what you can control and what you should focus on. What are the things you can impact? What are the things that, might happen that you can't plan for? But as Coach Bill Walsh had said, there are going to be events that happen that there's nothing you can do about them. But you need to plan for them. And you need to plan and realize what they might be. Okay, this will come in your assumptions and your planning process and your strategy you're forming in order to be able to overcome them when they do happen. Okay, so we're going to be deep diving into his leadership lessons. We're going to be looking deep dive into, again, the U.S.-Iran war, the current state of what's going on. We're going to deep dive a little further into Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, his testimony, as we talked about on Wednesday. I know a few of us had talked about him not having too much longer to go in office, and I think that might be a very accurate assessment based upon what we're seeing right now out there. Okay, and so we're also going to be deep diving then into the current Russia-Ukraine war. What are Putin's latest moves? What direction we think this is going to take in the overall impact across the world, across the U.S., for NATO, all those things. And of course, at the end, we are going to be having our leadership lessons of South Park, although there may or may not be necessarily some real South Park involved, or some other things that we're going to talk about, and hopefully gain a little bit of humor, wisdom, be entertained as well too. So, all right, we're going to get ready to kick off this right now. Before I do, give some shout outs into the audience here, everyone here. Lady Ann, what's going on? Good to have you. Lisa, Mark, good to have you. Lisa, good to have you here. I know you're lifting weights right now in the gym. Awesome. All right, and we're going to get this thing going. Yes, indeed, it is Friday. It's good. Friday night, and it is 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. East Coast. John, what's going on? Good to have you here as well. And Joshua, great to have you, man. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Maybe. He might be. I don't know. I think there's going to be a change soon, though. On Wednesday, a lot of us discussed that, but there's a lot to talk about, and we're going to deep dive into it. We will see if this becomes a Benathon or not. A Benathon is officially classified anytime we break over the 3-hour mark. Although after 2 hours, it's quite a marathon in and of itself as well. But yeah, great to have you guys here. We're going to get right into it. Oh, man, it's going to be a long one. Stoned Actual, what's going on? Good to have you. And let's get right into this. And as people start to trickle in, we're going to get the party started, though, and make sure we are rocking and rolling here. Okay, it is 5:04 my time, 8:04 out on the East Coast. Let's take a look at the life of Bill Walsh and his coaching life, okay, and discuss what are some of the leadership lessons that he had that we can learn from, okay? So we're going to call this the Professor's Doctrine. Bill Walsh, Professor's Doctrine. Bill Walsh was known as an NFL genius, okay? He was ahead of his time by decades, actually. He made a massive turnaround for the 49ers. He took a 2-14 disaster and turned it into a dynasty in 24 months. He didn't do it with a win speech. He did it with a standard of performance. And that's really what we're going to deep dive into tonight, okay? Whether you're joining us from the LinkedIn side, from Instagram side, here just, an organic native here on YouTube, subscriber, wherever you're coming from, we've got some leadership lessons here, some real takeaways. That's my goal, is that you get some real takeaways in his lesson and his strategy and the way he did things, his standard operating procedure, and his standard of performance, which is something I wholeheartedly believe in. But we're going to take something away, something that you can actually use immediately tonight and starting tomorrow in your own lives. Okay, so not just fluff, not just theory, not just blind inspiration or motivation, woo-woo type stuff, but actual strategy, tactics, tools, and techniques that you can use to upgrade your life, upgrade your team, etc., etc. Okay, so let us look into this a little bit more. So how did he do this? Okay, well, first of all, when he took over, he went and he got a lot of the right people. Okay, in my own personal leadership development framework, which is called RP2EL, okay, in my RP2EL framework, what I talk about first, the first RP is the right people with the right mindset, okay? So to go from a 2-14 team to a championship team in such a short window, Walsh executed a masterclass in mindset scouting. He actually did this, okay? And here are some of the key players he brought in during those first 24 months, all right? And if you know, you can put a couple of them in the chat, all right? My football people out there, if you know some of the key players he brought in, put it in the chat, okay? And we'll see who's on top of their 49ers history and not. Even though my team is the Buffalo Bills, don't get me wrong, but unbelievable story with Bill Walsh and the 49ers, okay? So let's get into this. All right. So here are some of the key players he brought in from 1979 to 1981, okay? The right leader, Joe Montana, in the 1979 draft, round 3. Montana is the ultimate example of your first, right person with the right mindset. Scouts said he was too small, didn't have a cannon arm. Walsh didn't care. He saw Montana's unshakable mindset, his ability to stay calm under pressure, and his anticipatory intelligence, meaning he knew how to throw people open. He knew the dead space in the field, where to throw the ball, so his receiver could go get it. He threw it where the defense wasn't. Imagine that. Smart move. There's a great fit here because Walsh needed someone who, with emotional intelligence, to execute a complex system without ego. This is key. Montana was the right person because his brain moved faster than the defense. Let's watch a little bit of this video right now, and let's see about Bill Walsh. All right. Again, welcome Friday Night Ferocious Optimist podcast. I'm your host, Ben Pappas. Great to have you guys here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Do it early if you know somebody who would benefit or like to be in here and get a lot out of our podcast tonight, our show. Just go ahead and share it with them, give them the link, and welcome them in. Again, welcome to the best chat in YouTube as well, too. Many have said that. Smartest chat, coolest chat, most supportive, and also on top of that, just the best chat in YouTube. We've heard that many, many times, so a little round of applause for our YouTube chat. And welcome aboard if it's your first time here. Great to have you. Don't forget to subscribe so you get all my crazy alerts of when I'm going live. Right now, we are live actually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, usually at least a 2-hour live stream every time. So welcome aboard. Great to have you here. Let's go ahead and check out this clip. All right. Bill Walsh, A Football Life. Let's check this out.
Whether you're a general, a CEO, or a football coach, finding a middle ground between the well-being of the people who work for you and the achievement of a goal is one of the trickiest aspects of leadership. Bill understood that unless you get people to perform, you're not going to get very much done. And that's why he was such a great leader. He got the best out of people.
He really had a special talent. He could take a player and stretch him right to the breaking point. And then with some humor and wit, he brings them all back together again.
You've got to have everybody 100% fresh for this ballgame. Somehow you've got to be fresh. In some cases, it may mean a lot of sex. In others, none. I don't know.
The players would refer to those same talents as manipulation. They saw Bill as someone who played with their minds. He was the puppeteer who was pulling the strings. When they started recognizing some strings that were attached, they resented it, even if a string was being pulled for their own benefit.
Bill Walsh's true genius was not X's and O's.
All right, now this is really important right here, okay? A little introduction to really what this man was all about. Okay, I'm a football guy. If you're a football person, I'm sure you appreciate this. But I would say that if you're just a team person, if you're a sports person or you're a team person at work, you understand that the most important element most of the time, the vast majority of the time, is the human element, understanding the psyche of the people you work with, the mentality, what motivates them, what drives them, all these things like that, okay? So important. And we're going to go into this some more and more about what his standard operating procedure was and also his standard of performance. Jonathan, welcome to Bronze. Great to have you, man. Awesome. Excited about that. Round of applause for Jonathan joining the membership. Congratulations. Awesome. Welcome aboard. Let's keep those rolling. Awesome. I love to hit that cheer button as much as possible tonight. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. So our first poll of tonight, I'm going to ask, okay, does taking care of the people on the team take care of the mission? Okay, and I'm going to word that a little differently. And the question's actually going to be, what's more important? Yeah, what's more important? Actually, does taking care of the people take care of the mission? Let's see what we got out there. Taking care of the people on the team help take care of the mission. I'm going to say that. Help take care of the mission. Yes or no? It's our first poll, okay? And some people may say no. Some people may say no, it doesn't. And I would love to hear why. Some people may say yes. Probably a lot of you will. Maybe some of you won't. Again, I like to see. I like to see where we're at, okay? For some people, this may be a simple question and a master of the obvious question. Yeah, Ben, of course it does. Others may say, no, it doesn't. Might be a little harder. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this.
Bill Walsh's true genius was not X's and O's, but handling people.
Montana puts it up in the air. And it is caught. And this is going to be a touchdown.
Psychology had as much to do with the 49ers becoming the team of the 80s as the West Coast offense.
Okay, guys, so why do I do what I do? Why, as an executive coach, a leadership and life coach, do I emphasize so much on the psychology? Why do I emphasize so much on your mental focus, your self-talk, your identity, right? The Ferocious Optimist framework I'm teaching in my free seminar this weekend, tomorrow, May 2nd. The link is in the chat. If you haven't registered for that yet, totally free, no strings attached, awesome. Come just alone for the Q&A afterwards. It's a private Zoom call. You'll get to interact with me. I'll answer your questions. I'll coach you on whatever you want me to coach you on. It's just my way to serve. And I'll tell you about some of my programs, ways you can work with me, like my new Inner Circle weekly group coaching mastermind that's absolutely awesome, that we have some members that are here in the audience in each week, and also my Ferocious Optimist membership. I'll talk to you guys about that and how to work with me one-on-one if you want to as well. But the major portion, the first hour, is going to be me teaching you my Ferocious Optimist framework, what I truly think makes a difference. So why do I focus on this? Because I'm going to tell you, as Napoleon had said, Napoleon Bonaparte, right, had said, the mental is to the physical as 3 is to 1. Okay, the moral is to the physical as 3 is to 1. What that means is that the strength and power an army derives, or an organization, or a team, or a person, for that matter. Again, guys, in my own personal philosophy of ferocious optimism, my strategic planning guidance, what I do, we go from large major strategic structures and organizations, nation states, countries, big teams, corporations, all the way down to smaller teams to the individual. It all nests in together, okay? You have to control your psychology. You have to be able to control your mental focus. You have to master and dominate and own your emotions, right? The few things in life you can control, one of them is your emotional state and also your attitude about what you're interacting with in life, what you're encountering in life, okay? So this is what the Ferocious Optimist podcast is all about. That's why we discuss the current events, so we don't get confused. We don't get scared. We face our threats head on. We seize opportunities. We analyze instead of getting afraid, okay? Oh, we got a little something there. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ruby. Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, what's going on? Great to have you. I appreciate that. Big round of applause. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Absolutely awesome. Make sure I'm saying that right. Thank you so much. And it's Ruby, right? I think I'm getting that right. Awesome to have you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. One more big round of applause. For Ruby. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Always appreciate the support, everybody. Means a lot. Helps to keep the channel going. Helps to support the channel. Keep us growing. I appreciate that. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Ruby. Appreciate it. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So that's what the channel's all about, okay? And so I put up every Friday, we do our leadership profile, and it's really on somebody that is an impact player, has done something really cool, interesting, or impactful or inspirational, some way we can improve our lives, some way we can have a takeaway immediately and take notes on it, use it in our life, okay? And then we're going to deep dive into geopolitics, the current situation, because the first step in my planning process is problem framing. We need to understand the context, the environment, the world we live in, what's going on in our lives. Because while some of these things may seem far away, like the war in Iran or taxes or tariffs or the economy is close in at home, right? We want to understand how these things impact our daily lives. And then what do we do about it? Again, like Coach Walsh said, I put it in a community post. Coach Bill Walsh said, there are going to be moments and things that occur, events that happen that we have no control over. But you do have to plan for them. You have to plan for these occurrences and just what you're going to do about them, because that way you can overcome them when they do. He specifically was talking about referees in football games, okay, in pro football. He's saying the refs are going to make bad calls. I had a rule when I was a football coach, head football coach. My rule, and also always for my players, when I was a varsity linebacker coach, right, in high school, when I was offensive coordinator, all these things, defensive coordinator. And one of the rules was that there are going to be 3 bad calls per game that are really bad. You got to be so far ahead that those bad calls, those things you can't control, don't set you back, okay? So take that into account. And that's what this channel is all about. All right, let's keep on rolling here. Thank you again, Ruby. Appreciate the support. Great to have you guys here. It is Friday. It is Friday, everybody. Why don't we have a little Friday tunes here? I got some tunes. Let's see what we got here that we can play. All right, here we go. I don't have that many songs. Got a little bit. All right, woo, Friday. All right, let's get it going. Here we go. Watch a little bit more from Bill Walsh.
The 49ers becoming the team of the 80s as the West Coast offense.
On the field in practice, players would make mistakes, and instead of the typical coach screaming at the player, he would turn and scream at the coach.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that later, why he would scream at the coach. But he would do that in order to preserve the psyche of the player, right? And not demolish them, because he was such an authority figure. He also had hire and fire authority where he could fire them too. Okay, so there was a lot going on with him doing that. Let me see how we're doing here in our poll really quick. Everybody's getting there. 100%. Okay, this seems like it's going to be an easy one. Put a vote in our poll. I'll put a new poll up there in a minute if this one's a no-brainer. Now I'll ask a more controversial one here in a minute. All right, let's check out this next little clip. Another little quote to introduce you to Bill Walsh. If you don't know
his
much
signature
about him.
on important acts he touches. This is not the voice of ego. Each warrior wants to leave the mark of his will, his signature, on important acts he touches. This is not the voice of ego, but of the human spirit, raising up and declaring that it has something to contribute to the solution of the hardest problems, no matter how vexing.
So I think we all feel that way. I think we all feel that way where, we do want to have something to say. We want to work on the hardest problems. We want to make sure we leave a legacy, okay, in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be in the same way that Bill Walsh did or some world leader, things like that. But in your own sphere, in your own lifetime, you want to know you made a difference, okay? Again, I teach this in my Ferocious Optimist membership. I teach it in my Inner Circle membership as well, too, or in my clients. I do inspirational speaking on it, keynotes about it. But one of the things I talk about are there, we have these core human interests, these core vital human interests, and these key motivations. Okay, the core vital interests are things that are very basic, survival level, and also intrinsically, psychologically survival level, okay? One of them is security and stability. Another one is economic prosperity. You need to survive economically in this world. Respect and status is another one. Connection, belonging, tribe, love, all those things. And then the key motivations are more spiritually focused, more focused on self-actualization, personal development, and growth, because these add the real deep satisfaction and joy in life. And one of those things, for example, is leaving a legacy, service to others, and service to a deeper purpose, something bigger than just ourselves. And that's what Bill Walsh is talking about there. So as a leader, when you're able to tap into some of these things, you understand the core vital interests, right? You're taking care of the no-kidding basics, like their pay, their, psychological safety, their respect, their status. That's why it's bad when a boss is eviscerating someone, destroying them. You're lowering them in the eyes of others, okay? You're also probably making an enemy too, and even if they act afraid at first. So on the other side of that, making sure you understand their deeper drive and how you can help them fulfill their deeper vision for who they're trying to be. And this is what I'm going to get into Saturday. If you haven't registered for my seminar on Saturday, free, totally free. The registration link is in the chat. Love to have you there. It'll be awesome. Private Zoom call. Stick around just for the Q&A alone at the end, which will be, probably at least 30 minutes long, depending on how many questions I get. And I'll answer your questions. You can see me. We can talk, all the stuff like that. Private Zoom call. But I'm going to talk about identity, the power of identity. This is what Bill Walsh was up to. He was not just designing football plays. Yes, his offense was formidable. Yes, he had great tactics. Yes, he knew football inside and outside. But he knew people. It was totally about people, getting the most from his players. Deep, true leadership, okay? And tapping on all their buttons that would motivate them to give their absolute best, their best attention each and every day. And we're going to go into his lessons for his standard of performance as well, too, all right? You guys, give me a 1 in the chat. Give me a 1 in the chat if you think that one of the most powerful things is the human emotions and the psychology of people, okay? And give me a 0 if you don't think so, all right? All right, Ruby. Well, awesome. Appreciate you being here. So give me a 1 in the chat, though. Give me a 1 in the chat if you guys think that psychology is one of the most powerful things that will deal in your performance, or your team's performance, okay? Yeah, totally stoned, actually. That's right. I agree with you. I want to see where we're at. Joshua, 100%. All right, let's go ahead and let's watch this next one here. Hey, Jonathan, what's going on, man? Good to have you. Got it, Mark. Thank you. Thanks, John. God, I see that. All right, let's go ahead and watch this next one, because he really gives a masterclass on how you not just motivate, but you sustain motivation and drive to achieve victory, right? You're getting the absolute best out of people. And this is what he was known for. All right, let's check this out. And here's him ripping coaches.
I put the thing in upstairs. Now I'm being told by you what the to do. Let's go.
The dynamic was the coach is getting yelled at. The player feels bad. Like, geez, I feel bad for my coach. He's getting yelled at for my mistake. And so what happened as a player, you think, I got to make sure and protect my coach.
Boy, if I ever get a chance to be a head coach, I'm not going to do that.
How do you think we started this game? Not very well. Okay, I mean,
I'll be darned if when I became a head coach, if you were to talk to Steve Mariucci or Andy Reid or John Gruden, I did exactly the same thing.
That's so funny, right? You say you're not going to do the same thing, but you do exactly the same thing. Bill Walsh was very successful, and he made it about the coaching staff that, Nick Saban was known to do this as well, too. Okay, Nick Saban would look at the coach. If a play went wrong, something was done wrong, an assignment was done wrong on the field at Alabama, okay, Nick Saban, the head coach from Alabama before, I think the winningest all-time college football coach, if I'm not wrong about that. But he would say, Coach doesn't know. He doesn't know, Coach. Why doesn't he know, coach? He doesn't know. He talked to his assistant players. He did the same thing, okay? He didn't attack the players. It was something where, you know, you could talk to the players one-on-one, but they were under so much pressure all the time from the crowds, from the other teams, from all this stuff to perform, that if it was a knowledge mistake, he would attack the other coaches. If it's an effort mistake, that's on the player, okay? And usually position coaches will go after them saying, if you're not giving top effort, that's on the player, and then the position coach will rip into them. But otherwise, if they don't know what to do or they're not doing it right, they rip on the leader, right? The leader in charge, which is the assistant coach. Very interesting way to do things.
Why didn't he throw it? Why didn't he throw it? What happened on the screen? Why did we run that?
That's me.
Why?
That's me.
Why is it you?
That's me. I sent it the wrong thing.
The formation?
Right up short. I sent it in.
We got to the first 15. Let's go.
As I got older, I said, you know, I realize now why he did it. Pretty effective.
All right, so why did he do that? Why did he do that? Talk about this really quickly, right? He did this because, again, he created that loyalty as well, too, where the player's like, oh, man, I'm getting ripped, or my coach is getting ripped. My leader that I care about is getting ripped for my mistake, and he's just taking it. And so what that does, it creates an effect that we did in the military. We'd actually do that in the military. It happened all the time. If someone else had made a mistake, you see it in Full Metal Jacket, right? They're paying for it. You eat it. Remember that with Private Pyle? Okay. If you don't remember that scene, I'll pull it up. But the scene where they're in the squad bay and Private Pyle has a jelly donut. He's like, why do you have a jelly donut, Private Pyle? And he's like, sir, no excuse, sir. Whatever he says, sir, I took it from the chow hall, sir. Are we allowed to have chow from the chow hall, Private Pyle? Sir, no, sir. And so he starts thrashing the whole platoon, right? He thrashes everyone else but Pyle, tells them to sit there and eat it. Okay, so that the lesson is that your mistakes will cost the team and cost the leadership. Okay, and so it's very effective because here's why. Master of psychology, right? A master of psychology. It's this, the idea that we will let ourselves down first before we let other people down. Very, very powerful. This is why when you're creating goals, you're creating a strategy, you need to link a powerful reason why that's beyond just yourself. I teach this all the time with my clients, okay? My executives, my executive leaders, teams that I coach, teams I do keynote speeches to, things like that, okay? And not just sports teams, like, you know, corporate teams as well, sales teams, etc. But when we link a powerful reason why that serves something greater than just ourselves and serves other people are connected to it, okay? So if you're writing down goals, it's so powerful when you have other people connected to it that achieving your goal will serve. It supercharges them, okay? So he was taking advantage of a very, very powerful fundamental rule in psychology, okay? The way our brains work. Human beings, we are also very social creatures. We're social animals, okay? We need to stay connected with the tribe and with other people. And so that's why it's so powerful when you connect other people to your goals, other people to accountability. It's just what Coach Walsh was doing. You'll first let yourself down before you let other people down. So as soon as you see your mistake is hurting other people, I want you to go there right now and think about this. If you made a mistake and what you did now is hurting other people, how are you going to feel? If you think that would hurt you, give me a 1 in the chat if that would hurt you, okay? If hurting other people by your mistake, if you hurt other people by your mistake, would that hurt you more? Would that hurt you more than if it just hurt you? Put a 1 in the chat if it would. If it would hurt you more, if you knew making your mistake would hurt other people, put a 1 in the chat, okay? I want to see where we're at in that. Hey, Timothy, what's going on, man? That's right. And then but that was after a while, not at first. Later on, they had to self-correct. They had to correct him a little bit. All right. This is a no-brainer, I think, for my poll. I'm going to put a new poll up, okay? I'm going to put a new, more controversial poll up in a second here, okay? And let's look at this now, all right? Because we're doing our deep dive into Bill Walsh and his lessons. I'm going to put this one up because I think this is a good one to have. A little backdrop, who we're talking about. Okay, so let's talk. Again, he hired the right people right away. He got the cultural anchor. He got Dwight Clark, who was the right mindset. He was the right guy, the way he performed, hardest worker in the room always, okay? He discovered him by accident because he saw him in a practice working harder than anybody. Clark became the embodiment of Walsh's standard of performance. He wasn't the most talented, but he was the most disciplined. The catch in 1981 NFC Championship game wasn't luck. It was the result of a mindset obsessed with the standard, okay? Next, the defensive foundation. Ronnie Lott, the ultimate hitman, the first and ultimate hitman, right? 1981 draft, round 1, first-round draft pick. He was the soul of the right people, okay? Montana was the brain. Ronnie Lott was the soul. He had the combat mindset to the secondary and the defense, shifted the entire team's identity from soft to lethal, okay? So we had on and on. He went and got the right people. But then I want to say, too, he cleared out anybody with a losing mindset, okay, losing culture, poor mindset. He cleared them out and replaced them with high discipline, high IQ, high drive, high work ethic people like Montana and Clark and Lott, all right? He prioritized anticipation and discipline over raw physical size, okay? And then he also created such a system with the West Coast offense, but then also you saw with his psychology and his mindset what he was bringing, right? He started with the right people, which is so important. But I want to say that one of the key takeaways, and we're going to get into his lessons in 1 second. I want you guys to take away this. And for me, this blew me away. This really blew me away as a football coach, okay? This is what he said. And I was a big believer in this, being a football guy. And he also had real connections to the U.S. Naval Academy as well, too. He was the president on the board of the board of directors, the board of visitors to the U.S. Naval Academy. He used to spend a lot of time around the Naval Academy, watching Navy football, watching the midshipmen, how they marched. And he was a real student of discipline, watching military organizations. And here's his little thing. Guys, if you take nothing away from this, I want you to take this away right now, okay? You take nothing else away from this, take this away. Here's one of the things he said that I thought was brilliant. He said, if you focus on the win, you lose the details. Always remember this, okay? I've infused this into my life, because if you focus on just the win, you will lose the details. And I've told you guys before, small things are all things. If you master the details, how the ball is held, how the jersey's tucked, how the route is run, execution, how the footwork is, all these little details, and you focus on that in practice, and you run perfect plays built from the ground details up, okay? The victory is a mathematical certainty, all right? Here's his quote: the score will take care of itself. Guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you've had a time in your life. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've had a time in your life when the score has taken care of itself because you've done all the little things. It could have been at work. It could have been in school. It could have been in your business. It could have been in your career. It could have been around your house or leadership, or it could have been you were a football coach too, or some kind of coach. But you got to remember that the score taking care of itself means you were so focused on the daily critical tasks, okay? Something else we talk about in my Ferocious Optimist membership, and when I'm working with my clients, what I talk about is something called the 80-20 rule, okay? That 20% of our actions will give us 80% of our results, all right? And this is truly where the devil's in the details. When you take care of those most important critical tasks, they may seem small. For example, waking up on time, going to bed on time. Like you said, sounds easy, all right? Easier said than done. But when you take care of going to bed on time, usually waking up on time is easier. You keep doing that consistently, okay? You have a much better chance of getting done all the things you need to get done, the little tasks, which over time compound like compounding interest and will give you big results. But give me a 1 in the chat, okay? If you've had a time, and you can tell me about it too, but you've had a time where the little things, the little details have built the victory. Guys, this is the key, man. This is the key. And so many people don't realize that. But the score in life takes care of itself. If you do automatic investing, you have your money automatically taken out every month, okay? It can even be a small amount, okay? The score in the end, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, in your investment will take care of itself because you've done the right things on a habitual, consistent basis, all right? Very, very important. So let's get into his rules right now before we get set up, and we're going to jump off here in a minute and going into Iran and Ukraine and Russia. But this is tonight's show, Genius Lessons of 49ers coach Bill Walsh, Iran and Ukraine wars, and leadership lessons of South Park, which is our comedy section. If you're just joining us for the first time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And after we post it, comment, jump in the chat, introduce yourself, and let's rock and roll. Let's do this. Okay, so let's go into some of his deeper lessons. He has 17 principles of performance, okay? The 17 performance principles of Bill Walsh's standard of performance. Here they are. Number 1, exhibit a ferocious, I like it already, a ferocious and intelligently applied work ethic directed at continual improvement. Super important, really important. Guys, you can take a screenshot of this. You can use it as you see fit, okay? But these are right from his book, The Winning Edge. Number 2, demonstrate respect for each person in the organization. I think we lose this too much, especially today when we see everything on social media, on the news, the media. You know, we've lost sight of this a lot, okay? Number 3, be deeply committed to learning and teaching. Number 4, be fair. 5, demonstrate character. Again, you know, character is so important. It's almost everything, right? The mindset, the right people, the right mindset. If you don't have that, you're done. Number 6, honor the direct connection between details and improvement. Relentlessly seek the latter. Relentlessly seek improvement. Number 7, show self-control, especially under pressure. You can't lose it. If you lose it and you flip out and go nuts. I think I saw something where a teacher went wacko today in Florida and was telling her students how she was offered all this money to be like a stripper or something. These are like middle school kids. They were like, well, of course they all filmed her. She must have been on something. It was crazy. But you want to show self-control, especially under pressure. Come on. Demonstrate and prize loyalty. So important. Loyalty up and down. Don't expect loyalty just to you. You need to have loyalty to the sides, above you, below you, okay? Have honest, frank conversations, candid conversations. If you need to, having hard conversations to speak real truths, okay, can save an organization, can save a team, could save you, all right? Very important. Use positive language and have a positive attitude. Guys, if you don't see that, again, this is what this channel is all about. All these things right here, okay? And yes, we are going to go into everything later in the Iran war and the Ukraine wars very soon. South Park leadership, of course, all that. But again, everything we do stems from our mindset, our mental focus, our energy, our attitude. And tomorrow during my free seminar, the link is in the chat. Absolutely no cost to you. Totally free, okay? Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Links in the chat, like I said. I'm going to talk about identity, environment, and energy, okay? And how important it is for you to maintain your energy, which is a result also of a positive mental attitude, which is absolutely crucial, okay? All right, let's go through these some more. Take pride in your effort as a separate entity from the result of that effort, okay? Take pride in your effort as an entity separate from the result of the effort, okay? What does he mean? He's a very smart guy. This is like kind of a sentence that's not that easy to read. He means what I call this. I call it the law of detachment, okay? Again, I teach this in my Ferocious Optimist community and membership. I teach it in my inner circle. I teach it to my one-on-one clients. I teach it to corporations when I speak to them, especially high-drive sales teams, things like that, who are under a ton of pressure, or any of you under a lot of pressure. The law of detachment says that you give maximum effort to the best of your ability. You prepare as well as you can. You execute as well as you can, okay? But then you detach yourself from the result. You have to. If you beat yourself up and you internalize the results, A, your head gets too big if you win. B, your head gets too small and you beat yourself up. You may never want to do it again. You need to analyze, assess, improve, iterate, okay? As the Marine Corps, we say, improvise, adapt, and overcome. But you see Bill Walsh right here, smart man, echoing the same thing that I call the law of detachment. Take pride in your effort as an entity separate from the result of that effort. Next, be willing to go the extra distance for the organization. Going the extra mile will get you very, very far in life. I'm just telling you, okay? Going the extra mile is a key. There's a great book by a guy named Napoleon Hill. Give me a 1 in the chat if you heard of Napoleon Hill before, okay? Give me a 1 in the chat if you heard of Napoleon Hill, okay? Great guy's name is Napoleon Hill, okay? Maybe be blunt, but you want to use tact too, okay? Because sometimes you can really turn people off with being blunt. Just be candid, be open, be honest. But the way you deliver a message matters as well. You know, being blunt, as long as you have blunt with some kindness behind it and you have the right intentions, right? If you're blunt with the intention of making them better and the intention of helping the team, then it's okay, right? But sometimes people are blunt and they just be like, yeah, you suck. And there's no context. And then the person's like, oh, I suck. And that's it. Okay. Especially if they're not that experienced or you don't know them that well. Okay. You know, if it's someone you know really well and you guys have that type of relationship, you know, like combat fighter pilots have that, right? They tell each other things very, very blunt, very open, very candid, but they also have a safe environment where they know that's how things are going to go. Okay. Be willing to go the extra distance. So important. Go the extra mile. Napoleon Hill's book, okay, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about be willing to go the extra mile is one of the keys to success throughout history. All right. Read that book if you haven't read it yet. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I highly recommend it. Next, deal appropriately with victory and defeat. Totally agree with this, okay? Adulation and humiliation. Okay, things are never as bad as they seem. And at the same time, things are never as good as they seem, okay? Don't get your head too blown up. Don't beat yourself up too much. Be proud of yourself. Feel good when you achieve your goal, when the job is done, and you did a kick-ass job. Let your confidence raise. Feel good. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are and who you want to be, okay? Identity is something I'm going to talk about tomorrow in my free seminar. The link to it is in the chat, totally free. Just register for it. But I'm going to talk about identity and how identity is everything. The way you see yourself matters so much. It's one of the most powerful forces in the human condition, okay? The need to stay consistent with the way we see ourselves. Absolutely crucial, okay? Deal appropriately with victory and defeat. Promote internal communication that is both open and substantive, okay? Again, these are some highfalutin words. Really simple. Promote communication in the team, in and amongst the team, okay? Make sure it's open, but make sure it's also of real substance, not just all, yes, it's good. No, it's bad, right? Really have discussions, but you as a leader, you have to shape that, okay? All of you are leaders in some way, shape, or form. So you can encourage that. You can ask for it. You can be the one who fosters it in the team or in your family, whatever. But open communication and substantive. You can have some rules in place too, so no one can just go off the rails, but it's very important. Next, 14. Seek poise in myself and those I lead. Poise is very important. Poise. Joe Montana was poised. Tom Brady was poised, okay? Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback, is poised now that he's older, right? When he was younger, he was crazy wild man because he just had all this athletic ability. But poise means you're calm under pressure, okay? In combat, the best units are poised under fire. They stay poised. It means they stay professional. They work on the details. They stay calm and focused under pressure. They might feel the fear, but they don't let it overwhelm them. Poise, so important. It also helps to build your personal brand when you're poised, okay? Next, put the team's welfare and priorities above my own. This is absolutely crucial. If you're out there, okay, taking care of yourself in front of your people before you take care of them, they will remember your selfishness, okay? Might not seem like much, but they will remember. Trust me, they are watching you all the time. You, if you have a boss like that, you're watching them all the time, okay? Just remember, lead yourself first, take care of what you can control. And I will say this, why did Marine Corps leaders eat last? Okay? Simon Sinek, who wrote that book, Where Leaders Eat Last, was a Marine. Okay? He was a Marine officer. And the point of eating last is to show we take care of our men first. We take care of our people, our Marines first. And then we go in the chow line and we eat afterwards. As long as they're the ones doing all the heavy lifting, all the work all the time, okay? You take care of them first. And even if you're doing a ton of the work too, it's showing you come first. Servant leadership. Servant leadership is so, so important, okay? All right. Almost there on these rules. Again, these are the 17 principles of Bill Walsh's standard of performance. 16, maintain an ongoing level of concentration and focus that is abnormally high. I'm going to say that again. Maintain an ongoing level of concentration and focus that is abnormally high. Guys, This is the difference maker, okay? A lot of the times, it's not the people who have the most talent. It's the ones who go all in, are relentlessly focused. They cut away the fluff, okay? They cut away the fat. They are hyper-focused on the most important actions on a day-to-day basis. Again, you take care of the details, the score will take care of itself. As we said, you have a great practice period of 5 minutes in football. A practice period is 5 minutes. You have a great practice period, okay? Then you have a great practice hour. You have a great practice. You link enough great practices together, and by the time the game comes, okay, you have the greatest preparation. Let me say this. You may not win because the other team might do the same thing and just be better, okay? That might happen. But your team will perform at its absolute best the way it should, okay? And all things being equal, all right, if you have the same amount of talent, or let's say you know about their talent and you plan for their talent, you counter their talent, and you beat them, you're probably going to win. The scoreboard will take care of itself. You're most likely going to win, okay? If you account for your weaknesses, you account for their strengths, you counter their strengths, you use your own strengths, you're probably going to win, okay? But it's in the devil's in the details, the day-to-day details. This is why he's saying you have to maintain an ongoing level of concentration and focus that is abnormally high. How do we do this? Again, tomorrow, my free seminar at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. The link is in the chat, totally free. I am going to talk about the power of energy, okay? How do you maintain such an abnormally high focus and concentration? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about this, okay? My Ferocious Optimist framework, identity, energy, and the environment that creates elite, sustained performance. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, okay? Number 17, make sacrifice and commitment the organization's trademark. This is culture. Make this your personal brand. Sacrifice and commitment. Sacrifice and commitment is my personal brand. Say that to yourself. I go the extra mile. I sacrifice. I commit. That's my brand. Okay, I have extraordinarily high focus and concentration. Ooh, sounds like a good brand to have, okay? I'm poised. Wow, you're developing a personal brand and an identity. You're going to be friggin' unstoppable. Guys, take this on for yourselves. Take this on. Let it soak in. Let it sink in, okay? Again, I applaud each and every one of you that's here right now, because you could be anywhere else, but you're here and you know what I talk about, right? My first pretty much hour of this show is personal development, personal growth, the Ferocious Optimist podcast at its finest to upgrade your life, improve your life, help you to kick ass this week, this month, this year, all right? And then we're going to go into analyzing the context of our operating environment, the Iran war, Ukraine war here in a minute. It's all in a link to strategy to help you win. There's not just, we're not just sitting here playing tiddlywinks or whatever, wasting our time, okay? So I applaud all of you for being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and jump right in. We are going to jump in now into our segment on Iran and Ukraine and everything going on in the world. But first of all, let me jump in the chat. Let me see what questions you guys have and see what is going on. I'm going to create a new poll as well. All right. And no, Cedric, you didn't miss the UAPs. That's not for today. Napoleon Dynamite, I'm familiar with. I see that, Timothy. All right. Be blunt to make better, not bitter. That's right. That's a great way to put it, Lisa. I love that. And Napoleon Solo. Let's see. Focus on the process, not the product. Yeah, Josh, that's great. Hey, B. Sandman, what's going on, man? Good to have you here. Frosty, what's going on? The seminar is 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. The link is in the chat right now. It's a pinned comment in the chat. Just register for that, and it'll give you the time, everything like that as well. But it's 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. It'll be about an hour and a half long. And you can put it on your phone, headphones, and just tune in and listen too. Or you can be camera on, participating, all that stuff like that. All right. Okay, let's see here. I believe it, Lisa. Hey, Ruby. I'm live every Friday, yeah. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. So I go 3 days a week. Wednesday is brand new. I'm going to see if I can sustain it. I think I can. But I'm also doing a seminar tomorrow, Ruby. That's my Ferocious Optimist framework, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, to have my math right. The link is in the chat, so hope to see you there. Let's see here. Okay, Frosty, I experience the same thing at times. Some people are not easily motivated or as committed to the cause. Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Guys, like, subscribe, share. Share it with your friends. Send it over to them. Be like, hey, check this out. I appreciate that, Mark. This is my big thing is is trying to upgrade people's lives. You know, it's really is. This is my passion, my purpose, my mission in life at this point in life, okay? Probably always has been, but really at this point in life is to be an inspirational leader to create positive, lasting change in people's lives, okay? The mission of my business, all right, is to create inspirational content that is inspirational, educational, and also entertaining to create positive, lasting change. Inspire positive, lasting change in people's lives. So same thing, to create content like that, okay? And also through my coaching, my content, everything I'm doing. So great to have you guys here. I love it. Let me see what other questions we have in here. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, to give God the answer. I love that. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, thanks, Ruby. Yeah, I've got a channel. I just started up last June, and I signed up at YouTube a long time ago, but never did anything with it. I was just like sitting there and never did anything with it. But then I was on the War Room with Nate and with Jake and Jay and all those guys and Aaron, and people were asking me if I was going to get a YouTube channel, so I finally started up, and here I am. I do a lot of lives. Sometimes I do long-form video, but not that much, mostly lives. And right now we're up to 3 lives a week. Appreciate you being here. It's awesome. Yeah, Nate's got a mega channel. Craziness over there. Okay. Well, let me think of one more poll. Hey, do you guys have an idea for a poll? You have an idea for a poll? Put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll throw one up here right now. And we're going to start with the chat with a poll on Iran. And actually, I'm going to put this one in here, I think. You guys can put a poll idea in the chat as well, too, and maybe we'll select it. We'll see. But for right now, I think the poll has to be, I mean, honestly, this is it. Is there a way out? Is there an acceptable way out of Iran without more war? Let's see. Let's see what you guys think. And with that being said, we're going to zoom right in now into what's going on in Iran. Okay? So, and here's the thing. President Trump, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but President Trump just said, hey, we're out of here. We're not going anymore into war. The war is over. It's terminated. Now, there are a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons is the War Powers Act, about what you have to report to Congress. And he's saying, we're done with this war. Meanwhile, they're gearing up to do all this bombing and all these, military actions. And so what is really the story? There's so much here, guys. We could spend 2-3 hours just on this alone. But let's start with this video. We're going to start off right here with this video. Is there an acceptable way out of Iran without more war? Okay. Yes, we got 73% so far. 11 votes. 73% say yes, there's an acceptable way out of Iran without more war. 27% say no. Okay. Let's see. Let's watch this, and let's see if your opinion changes later. Here we go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're new here, vote in our poll. Make yourselves known. Introduce yourself. Got the greatest chat on YouTube. Really quick, round of applause for the best chat on YouTube. So, celebrate yourselves, everybody. That's for all of you. I'm just the one putting on the background noise here. All right, here we go. Let's get into this one because there's a lot to talk about here, and I'm going to let it hit me. I'm going to let it hit me like I let it hit you guys. All right, here we go.
President Trump says he is not happy with Iran and its new offer, and now is considering his options. One of those, he says, is to, quote, blast the hell out of them. This comes as his administration technically states the Iran...
One of his options is to, quote, blast the hell out of them. He's so, old school, man. It's actually intense. Oh, boy. Let's see.
Conflict is over in a letter to Congress. It says the ceasefire that began in early April is still holding. That is seen by many lawmakers as a maneuver designed to avoid the need for congressional approval of the action at 60 days. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy has details tonight, live from the North Lawn. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Brett. Yes, on paper, the war with Iran is over, but because President Trump has not decided to pull any Pentagon assets out of the Persian Gulf, it's not really over.
They're asking for things that I can't agree to.
Negotiations with Iran continue as the White House writes to Congress. The hostilities that began on February 28th, 2026 have terminated.
All right, so this is kooky. Guys, this is kooky. If you think this is strange, put a 1 in the chat, because I think this is strange, okay? And the whole reason... Oh, you guys couldn't hear it? Okay. Lady Ann, you got it now? Okay, are we good? Everyone's good? Oh, no clapping? Everybody can hear me okay, right? You guys can hear me? All right, just let me know if you guys can hear me. I saw no sound. Okay, cool. Got it. All right, we'll try sound effects again. Let's try and fire up the sound effects one more time. Here we go. I don't know what happened. All right, one more time. All right, you guys hear that one? Let me know. So, but I think this is kooky, guys. Yeah, you guys think it is too. DeGriff thinks so. Lady Ann thinks so. Joshua, Frosty, B. Sandman. Everybody thinks it's kooky. It's super kooky. Okay. Good sound. Okay, awesome. Got it. Awesome. Thanks, Phoenix. Thanks, Frosty, Lady Ann. So, it is kooky. And the thing is, it's just, you're getting into the lawfare type of legal warfare where he's just saying, yeah, we've terminated the war, because there's a point at the 60-day mark where he has mandatory reporting and approvals from Congress. The president can declare a war. Basically, it's not declared war, but the president can wage military conflict, right? Military action for up to 60 days without congressional approval. But then he has to get approval from Congress in order to keep on going. So if he says they've terminated, oh, how convenient, there's a ceasefire. Oh, how convenient, we're reloading, refitting, rearming, we're resupplying. It's all very convenient. Well, now they're ready to go. And they're giving this guys, like Sun Tzu says, you know, when you are weak, fake you're strong. When you're strong, feint that you're weak. When you're attacking, act like you're not, okay? Hide your attacks. Everything is a deception operation. So the next phase of the war is what we have to look at, all right? And I see in our poll, let's see where we're at. But the next phase of the war is probably going to be something where we are actually attacking and hitting their infrastructure, the desalinization plants, electric grids, railroads. You know, something of note is that in the Persian Gulf area, like 50% of the world's ingredients for fertilizer, for food, for agriculture come from the Persian Gulf area, okay? And while the straits are closed, these things can't get through. So what are we looking at next? We're looking at a possible, you know, famine breaking out as food shortages occur. So affordability is going to spike. Gas prices are spiking. We're going to have an issue with not just food prices, but food availability. Okay, you see what I'm saying? If there's not fertilizer, crops will fail, or crops will slow, crops won't yield as much. You will have starvation and famine occurring, okay? If they strike the desalinization plants, what happens? There's no water. Places like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, okay? Oman, all these places, if they have no water, we're looking at millions of people possibly dying of thirst. I mean, this is crazy biblical proportion type of stuff that could happen if this escalation ladder keeps on going up, all right? There's a lot to think about here. There's a lot going on. All right, let's keep on watching this.
That's key, because if those hostilities ran longer than 60 days in a row, President Trump would need to ask Congress for permission to continue to comply with the War Powers Act.
The War Powers. Every other president considered it totally unconstitutional. And we agree with it.
Thousands of missiles and bombs have fallen on Iran during Operation Epic Fury, and Vice President Vance, according to The Atlantic, expressed his concerns about the availability of certain missile systems in discussions with President Trump. The president doesn't share those concerns.
All over the world, we have inventory, and we could take that if we need it. For instance, we're stocked and locked and loaded.
As a result of the war,
guys, this is a very real concern, though, okay? So very real concern are the level of stockpiles we have, the magazines, the national level magazines of missile interceptors, of missiles, of, bombs, all these high-end, exotic, complex missile systems, weapon systems that we have that we've used in Iran or we've given to Israel. The systems we're not giving to Ukraine and to Europe right now, okay, telling them, hey, we can't give you the stuff you've already paid for. So, again, as I've covered in my other lives, there are some serious problems that are coming about. Some serious things are coming down as a result of this, all right? Such as Vladimir Putin, who is now massively threatened up in Russia by Ukraine. We're gonna play some clips on that later, okay, and discuss this, is moving fire brigades on the Baltic NATO states' borders, okay? He's also, not just Baltic, he's moving on Finland, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, and threatening them, saying that if there are any more drone attacks coming out into Russia from Ukraine that cross through your airspace, this is going to be an act of war. And by the way, the top Russian communist, longest-term veteran of the Communist Party came out and said, look, Putin's doing everything he can, but the people are ready to have a revolution, okay? I'm going to play a clip on that too. If Putin gets overthrown from power, who comes in next? We don't know. Maybe he's worse. I don't know. But if they try, don't mistake, Putin's not going to go down without a fight, okay? Which means he may start another war, which means who knows what. Who knows what that will mean, okay? But the bottom line is he's going to do everything he can to stay in power, and usually wars are a good distraction to stay in power, okay? And I've seen some things where, the people in Russia, they're afraid to uprise. They're afraid because they know the state apparatus, like Iran's, will just start murdering people. Crazy, crazy stuff, okay? It's all afoot right now. All right, let's watch a little bit more of that. Put your questions in the chat, guys. I'm going to see what we got right now. Yeah, China is resupplying Iran soon, Joshua, I agree with that. Okay. Yeah, 163 days. You might be right. I think it might be longer. I don't know. Cedric, UAE and Saudis want to diversify their economy, agriculture, water, military. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, please hit the like button. Thanks, Phoenix. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, guys. Cedric, UAE, I believe, are down $320 million from Iran's attack on the GCC. Yeah, I think you're right. Cedric, I think you're right about that. Let's see. Juan Wick, what's going on, man? Good to have you here, brother. Putin acting like he's strong when he's actually weak. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, though. That's when he does something crazy, like a cornered animal. Clean break strategy from, yep. Okay, Joshua, got it. Cedric, it's funny to me people disagree with Putin because he's a dictator. So what? We get our oil from the Middle East. That's a great point. It's just the difference is he has nukes, and he's actually really powerful and scary. You know what I mean? I think that's the difference. 1 million casualties, Russia. Yeah, that's right, for sure. For sure. Good to have you here, man. All right. Let's keep watching, and let's see what's going on. Again, you're here at the Ferocious Optimist podcast. The mission of this podcast is to upgrade your life. I'm your host, Ben Pappas. Great to have you here. If you're new, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you being here. Welcome to the best chat on YouTube as well, too. Big round of applause for our chat. We got to pump it up. It's Friday. All right. So let's go some more here because President Trump is saying the war is over. But meanwhile, in Iran, like today,
celebrations erupted in Tehran as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps unveiled what it calls a game-changing attack drone for the first time in public. In a move likely to raise alarms in Washington and Israel, Iranian forces showcased the next generation Arash drones as crowds flooded the streets in support of the Islamic Republic. The Arash is a one-way kamikaze drone, an upgraded version of the Arash 2 drone, designed for long-range precision strikes. The drones were paraded through Engelab Square during ongoing anti-US and anti-Israel demonstrations.
Okay, so a couple questions. If they're so broken, I mean, honestly, if they're so broken, how can they hold a massive, massive demonstration like this? How can they, I mean, they still have a truck. They still got drones. They got people. They have organization. Okay. Is that hard? I mean, I don't think you'd see this happening in Gaza. You wouldn't have seen this in war-torn, rubbled Germany or in Japan, you know? So, and again, that's probably because we haven't hit all of the major infrastructure sites either. But the IRGC still has some cards to play. It's an estimate right now that I've heard in my research on open source that they still have between 50 to 70,000 drone type weapons, okay? Whether they're aerial drones, subsurface drones, speedboat drones, but they still have quite a few drones out there that haven't been accounted for. So this thing isn't done. This isn't done. There's not going to be regime change. Okay. You know, and the reason why I ask you guys the question, the poll, which I hope you answer the poll, please answer it. You know, is there a real off-ramp? Is there an off-ramp for us to take that is viable, makes sense without war? Now, makes sense to you and me, it might not make sense for President Trump. It might not make sense for a lot of people. The U.S., unfortunately, will lose credibility. Will lose soft power. It will lose influence, okay? And the thing I've said a million times before, when people think you're no longer as tough as they thought you were, they look around trying to start a fight with you, okay? So we're going to have to go ahead and prove our strength all over again. And yes, he could declare victory. President Trump could have declared victory and say, we won already. We're out of there. We're leaving, all right? But you can't really declare victory when they close the straits again. They snapped them shut again, okay? And now they're parading around new drones. Let's see if they use these. Allegedly, these are more powerful drones with a longer range too, okay? And on top of that, on top of all of this, there's the consideration, okay, a serious consideration that, you know, stepping away makes us lose power, okay? That's one thing. And the other thing is this. President Trump has also said, I don't want to use ground troops, which is encouraging in some ways, but the real politique, the real strategist, the real politics strategist, meaning the power politics strategists out there, like General Mattis, Secretary Mattis, John Mearsheimer, let's say Ambassador John Bolton, people like that will say, well, this is kind of stupid because you started this thing and you're gonna have to do something. I'm gonna say it. I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Okay, it's either A, we leave. That's it. You know, maybe some kind of deal, some kind of deal gets papered, but Iran survives, therefore they win. We don't get the enrichment material. We don't get anything out of this except smashing the crap out of their ballistic missile systems. Yes. Smashing the crap out of some things. Yes, for sure. No doubt. Okay, no doubt about that. But it's either A, we leave, and, I don't want to say lose, but we do lose some things. We don't get what we wanted. We don't achieve our goals. Or B, we go in there, we control the Strait of Hormuz, we do amphibious coastal raids and coastal assaults, we take it, and then we pretty much win, okay? So, because they have no cards to play. They don't have any cards to play. And if they start launching drones then, we know right where they're coming from, and we'll pound the crap out of them. But this is going to cost. This is going to be big cost, okay? So big cost in the global economy, U.S. economy, big cost in blood and treasure, loss of lives. I mean, we were so concerned about one pilot being shot down, the life of this one pilot. I want you to think about the impact on the Iraq and Afghanistan war levels, okay? Iraq had more killed than Afghanistan did for the U.S. of body bags, 100 of them coming home a month. When I was serving in Iraq in 2006, I was there in a period of time when there were 100 U.S. KIA per month, roughly 100, 90 to 100 per month, okay, going on for several months, if not the whole year. I think Phantom Fury was in there as well too during that time. But it was a time when there were roughly 100 KIA per month. Okay, and so I don't know how politically. I don't understand how politically George Bush survived that, but this is a different America today, even than 20 years ago. But you got to remember, 9/11 happened, right? There was an attack on the World Trade Center. So there was still kind of belief that this was all connected, a greater conspiracy to bring down the U.S. I mean, Iran has stated the great Satan, down with America, but they didn't bring down the World Trade Center. I'm telling you right now, if they had done a World Trade Center type of attack on us and we could prove it's them, and they did it, and they were over there cheering, ha, 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 jumping around, they did it. I mean, we'd already be there. I think we'd already have, 100,000 troops lined up, ready to roll, with another 100,000 coming in waves. Okay? So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. That's why you had the popular support and the ability to ramrod this home, because of the pain that the U.S. took and the fear from terrorism and the connection that they were trying to draw between everything over there, which turns out wasn't really connected, wasn't really true. Okay. But that's how they were able to last so long in the Middle East before, in Iraq in particular. Okay. All right. Let me see what you guys got in the chat for me. Let's see here. Let me see. No, we're live. We're live right now, Harmony. Yeah, they do. Germany does? Ooh, Joshua, I always like a good German conspiracy. Hey, Paul, what's going on, man? Good to have you. Best chat on YouTube. Amen. Let's see here. Yeah, exactly. They need to find the factories, Juan Wick. You're 100% right. Find the factories. Yeah. Yeah, Iran doesn't have another leader lined up. I don't think so either, Cedric. I think right now what we have is we actually have, we have the IRGC is in charge of everything. The IRGC is just running the show. Blatantly, it's a military dictatorship at this point, okay? This is, actually truly a military dictatorship at this point. Let's see. Just learned today they have underwater. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. They probably do have some things for sure. But why they haven't used it yet? Probably because the U.S. would go bonkers if they sank a ship and would launch a ground assault. But they say that's what they want. So why haven't they used it yet? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, DeGriff probably with Bush not talking against the war, he's probably like, yeah, it's the pot calling the kettle black. I gotta just sit this one out and let him do what he wants. Plus, it's a Republican president, But I know he came out and said some things about Trump before. The Bushes don't like Trump, obviously. Okay, let's watch a little bit more of this.
Footage shows 2 new Arash drones mounted on a truck moving through a large crowd of Iranians waving national flags. It is worth noting that the Arash 2 had reportedly struck Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel on March 21st. However, no official details have yet been released about the range or capabilities of the new Arash drone. That said, the drone likely has a range exceeding 2,000 kilometers, similar to its predecessor. The Arash 2 is a long-range, one-way attack drone designed for kamikaze missions. It can carry a warhead weighing between 150 and 260 kilograms and has a low radar cross-section, enabling it to reach targets in Israel from Iranian territory. It can also be launched from mobile platforms to overwhelm air defense systems.
The new Arash drones appear to closely resemble the Shahed 136, which gained global notoriety for its role in attrition warfare. The Shahed 136 is a low-cost, GPS-guided unmanned aerial vehicle designed for saturation attacks, with a range of approximately 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers and a low
2,000 to 2,500 kilometers. Okay, so that's obviously Israel's well within range there. Okay.
Low radar and heat signal.
Hold on one second. Yeah, so I mean, definitely 100%. This is meant to overwhelm, Israel's defenses. So it's definitely meant for that, to overwhelm Israel's defenses and to make them waste all their interceptors, because they had a big hit. The Iranians did a big hit against the Israelis at one of their nuclear weapons facilities, actually. Okay. I believe it was an alleged nuclear weapons facility. I don't know if it's open or not, but they're saying it's one of their nuclear facilities. Maybe it's not a weapons facility, but they struck, I guess, about a month ago, struck there because they used the saturation technique of launching missiles and drones. What they do is they launch the fast moving missiles, which cause the targeting system, their Iron Dome and their whatever it is, the sling and arrow and all the stuff like that, to lock on, and then they bring the slower moving drones in. So at the same time, it's all timed. So the missiles come in, and then the drones come in like underneath the radar, so to speak, literally. Okay. And they don't pick it up. But that's how they were able to sneak through. So these drones, the fact that they have more of these, that's very concerning. Very, very concerning. Let's see where we're at with our poll right now. Is there an acceptable way out of Iran without more war? 76% say yes. 24% say no. Okay. Hopeful.
Approximately 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers and a low radar and heat signature, it is difficult to intercept.
Meanwhile, the unveiling comes after a stark warning from Shahram Irani, commander of Iran's naval forces. He said, "Soon they will definitely see a weapon from us that they are very afraid of. I hope they don't have a stroke." He also mocked the US and Israel, saying their belief that they could achieve results through aggression against Iran in the shortest possible time has now become a joke in military academies.
Iran's powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps warned that Tehran will deliver a strategic deterrence response if attacked again. In a statement, the IRGC said Iran would escalate the severity of its retaliation against any new attacks by the United States or the Israeli regime.
Okay, this is interesting, guys. This is interesting. So I'm going to put a poll up. What do you guys think this is? Okay, I'm going to put a new poll up. I'm having a poll-a-thon tonight. Lots of polls. But let's see here. So is this new Iranian response? I'm going to say, what is this new Iranian strategic response? Okay, we're going to say one is ship sinking, terror attack. What do we think this is? What could this be? Or you guys vote in this, okay? Here it is, new poll. New poll. Welcome if you're new time here, first time here. Great to have you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Welcome to the best chat on YouTube. We have a new poll up, so go ahead and hit this, all right? So I already saw some answers. What is the new Iranian strategic response? He just said there's a new strategic response that you will be very afraid of. I hope you don't have a stroke, right? I mean, I don't mean to mock him, but it's just funny the way the announcer said it. Ship sinking undersea drone, 12%. Terror attack, 50%. I mean, you're probably right. That's probably the easiest, most likely. New long-range missile. Like what? Or tell me in the comments, guys, what you think it actually is. What do you actually think it is? Yeah, Cedric, I think you're right. Let's see here. Cedric, where did Iranian generals learn their strategy from? I don't know, probably Russian and Chinese. I would say usually when a country is close allies with someone, they have an exchange. Like the Iranians will probably go to Russian military academies, Chinese military academies, whoever else they're friends with. Unfortunately, these aren't the best places to study. Honestly, for military academies, the best is the U.S., 100%. I can't think of where else they would take them. Probably not the Brits, maybe the French, maybe the Italians, but I don't think so. I think probably the Russians and Chinese take them in their academies, although that's really hard for an Iranian to be in China and doing that. So that's a great question. Great question, Cedric. Why would Iran allow all the specs out to the public? I don't know, DeGriff. That's a great point. You mean as far as like getting that new drone out there? Maybe they're just trying to make us concerned and make us afraid. I think that's what it is. Okay. Nuclear enrichment. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. Media blackout. Very true. Very true, Lady Ann. B Sandman. Okay, man. All right, keep on listening. Awesome. Great to have you, brother. Be safe when you're driving. Yeah, I don't think they're joking either, Cedric. Frosty. Yeah, you don't think, seems like a bluff. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree that they would have not used their best weapons. I think they would have used their best weapons up front, maybe, but maybe they're afraid to. Maybe they were afraid, or maybe they were honestly, Frosty. They might have had their heads down. They might have been really getting pounded, but now they got their heads up. This is why Ambassador Bolton said it's so stupid we're doing this ceasefire. You're letting them regather and letting them, get organized again. So. Yeah, a lot of terror attack talks. Desalinization. Oh, didn't even think about it, Cedric. You're right. That's the big one. Cedric, great point. They've said it before. They said that their nuclear option is two things. Close the Strait of Hormuz. Number two, strike the desalinization plants in Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Oman. Cedric, I think you might be right, man. They respond to our attack with overwhelming force. Yeah, Armwith, that's what they're saying. Juan Wick, we haven't asked the question, how does Iran feel about a ground invasion? They say, Juan Wick, they say that they want us to come. They've said that. We want you to come. Because they know they have a chance to inflict massive damage on us. And I say massive. Lots of damage. And it will be a massive media play for them, okay? It won't affect us at a national strategic survival level, obviously, okay? But it would be something where, just like in North Vietnam, the North Vietnamese playbook, which was to win the news media cycle, which was to win the war of hearts and minds on the news. So I think that's what they're going to try and do, okay? Timothy, they will line up thousands of goats and have thousands of RC members. That's one I hadn't thought of right there. Very interesting. All right. Yeah, he did. The mother of all battles, Mark. He said, mother of all battles. Saddam Hussein. This will be the mother of all battles. But the U.S. was projecting 70% casualties in that mother of all battles. And then we discovered that our tanks outranged their tanks by like 1 kilometer. They could fire 1 kilometer. We could fire 2. So what did they do? They sat 1,800 meters away. The Iraqi tanks were unable to even shoot. Their rounds would go in the dirt, and we'd pop their turrets right off, okay? If you look at interviews with like an Iraqi tank battalion commander, he said this wasn't even fair. You approached us at night. We couldn't even see you. And next thing you know, I'm looking to my left and my right. My turrets are flying off my tanks. My people are dying. I surrendered. We had no chance. I couldn't let them just die in vain. Smart man, compassionate man for his people. But can you imagine you're like fighting against a robot army, like alien force that you have no technological chance of beating the U.S. Army. We're not saying they're not brave. They weren't good fighters. We'll never know because they didn't have a technological chance. So I imagine if we do a ground war in Iran, we'll see a lot of similar things. But the only thing is at the infantry level, when you have to go and root people out, bayonets, knives, pistols, M4s, you level the playing field a lot. Now, a whole game changer will be, and I've said it a million times, guys, if we have robots, if we have Optimus robots that we haven't talked about yet, even one per squad. If we have a robot dog, a robot little ATV with a machine gun, and we have 1 or 2 Optimus-type robots in every squad, game changer. you can send the robots in, and you know right where they are, and the robot can walk in, drop a grenade, and walk out. Nothing they can do unless they hit it with a rocket launcher. Okay, so but that's coming soon to a theater near you. I think theater near all of us. Ukraine has already done that. They've already won whole battles just alone using robots. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this.
It added that any response to a fresh US-Israeli strike would go beyond the enemy's expectations. The IRGC further stated, any further aggression from the enemy camp and the ill wishers of this land will undoubtedly be met with a response beyond the enemy's expectations at a level of strategic deterrence. It also said Iran is fully prepared to confront any new aggression scenario, amid reports in Western media that the US could deploy troops on Iranian islands in the Persian Gulf to force Tehran to ease restrictions on passage through the Strait of Hormuz.
All right, so what does this mean? Let's see. Let's see this one. Any further aggression from the enemy camp and the ill wishers of this land will undoubtedly be met with a response beyond the enemy's expectations at a level of strategic deterrence. Okay, so this could be what Cedric was saying, that we're going to look to see attacks against the desalinization plants. This could be a major terrorist attack somewhere that we don't even know about, like Hezbollah and Hamas are going to do something to Israel, or a sleeper cell in the U.S. that we don't know about, okay? Or it could be the ship sinking, like they're going to sink an aircraft carrier. That would be a massive mess. We would lose 3,000 Americans, okay? And we would also have a massive strategic failure, strategic loss right there. It'd be a strategic victory for Iran, massively, okay? So those are things I can think of. Someone had mentioned once in the chat about weapons of mass destruction, like chemical weapons, biological weapons. I don't know if they have those. I don't know if that's their big thing. I haven't really heard of that being a big thing for them. But if you guys know or you see in ChatGPT, you want to look it up and throw it in the chat what you learned, that would be great. That would help us out. So crazy stuff, though, guys. Crazy stuff in this report from this Times of India is the name of the channel. How credible is it? It seems pretty credible. It seems like a lot of it's open source and they're just, sending it up there. But again, you gotta always keep kind of your eye on the prize on these and make sure that it's actual real info, okay? And not just BS. But I do my best to put the best stuff I can in here for you guys. All right. Now, while we're on it, we're gonna watch a little bit more of this in a second. But I want to see where our poll is at. What is this new Iranian strategic response? Ship sinking undersea drone, 36%. Terror attack, 36%. New long-range missile, 29%. Okay, I'm going to keep that up for a little while. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe for me. It's great. I'm always surprised that how many views we'll get, and then only very few are subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to hurt you. Go ahead and subscribe. It'd be great to have you. Okay, we are in our second portion of the show tonight, discussing Iran and then Ukraine and Russia. And then we're going to go into our leadership lessons of South Park, our comedy section. Have a good time before we kick off this weekend, okay? Again, we're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Great to have you here. And all my regulars, you guys are awesome. I appreciate your support. It means a lot. You guys are the best chat in YouTube. And hopefully we're all learning and growing together. And again, remember, guys, the purpose of my channel is the Ferocious Optimist podcast. I'm the host. I'm your host, Ben Pappas, and the purpose of it is to upgrade your life, okay? You guys know me. I'm a retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel, executive coach, strategist, and business strategist. Help people to grow their businesses. Also a life coach too, okay? So I do all those things, and if you're interested in making a breakthrough this year and learning the keys to elite high performance, I'm holding a free seminar Saturday, tomorrow, May 2nd, at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. The link is in the chat right now, pinned in the chat, totally free. Register. It's going to be a private Zoom call. We've had a handful of people every weekend. We've had, 60 register, 44, 50 register. Usually around 15 to 20 will show up. I don't know how many will be there tomorrow, But either way, it'll be fantastic. I do a great presentation on my Ferocious Optimist framework for elite performance. I'll talk about why your identity, your core identity, how you see yourself, who you believe you are, truly at your core, matters so much for elite performance and perseverance, and how you can actually change that and you can modify it and shape it and protect it, okay? Then also your energy, how to protect and build your energy, whether it's, your mental energy, your physical energy. It's all the things to make you have that elite focus and concentration that Coach Bill Walsh talked about in our first segment. And then last, your environment, your physical environment, the people that you hang around with, why it matters so much, and then also the content you consume, your mental environment. All those things we'll talk about for the framework for elite performance, okay? So go ahead and sign up. Cost you nothing. It'd be great to have you there tomorrow. Put a face with a name, put a voice with the name, and it'll be awesome. It'll be a continuation of our live stream-a-thon. Now it's like a live stream-a-thon all week, which is awesome, awesome hangout. I have a great time here, and I hope you guys do too. And we're going to keep on rolling. Let's see where we're at. Okay. But it's interesting now. But hasn't the Ukraine drone warfare changed? Yeah, it has. It has, for sure. I think though they're using a lot of FPV small drones, Wanwick. I don't know if Iran has those. I think Iran has big drones that Russia is using, the same big drones. Ukraine's actually using like Manhunter small drones, quadcopters your kid would use, right? Flying around, but with, basically a grenade attached to it. And so they have whatever. I've heard as low as $1,000 for these drones, some of them. Even $50 I've heard as low as for mass production, $300, $50, $1,000. I've heard all different levels, but they're cheap. And they're using them to hunt down squads of Russians, right? If they can land in the middle of a fire team, I saw a video, I think I played the video 2 live streams ago or 3 live streams ago, where they landed this drone in the middle of a fire team of Russians. They all tried to sprint and they detonated it, killed all 4 of them, or at least took them off the battlefield, right? Maimed them, wounded them severely with the explosive that was on there. So, yeah, I don't know if Iran has that actually. You don't see it anymore pinned? It's right there under my name. If you go to the chat, you'll see my name and say join my free seminar. Okay? It's definitely let's see here. It's pinned. It's pinned for sure. Maybe you guys can help her out to find it. Help Phoenix out. It's pinned there for sure. If you go to the very top of the chat, or it should be pinned at the bottom of your chat. If you look, that's where it is on mine anyway. And I look at my phone. If I go to the bottom of my chat on my phone, it's right in the bottom there. I don't know if you can see it, but it says my name is highlighted in yellow. So you just go to that and you'll find it. Okay? It'll be great to have you. Yeah, I think we're developing stuff like that. I think we are, I know counter drone is a big thing for us too, that they're trying to work on as well. Yeah, there's a lot to consider, Wanwick. So much to consider. I would not want to be getting hunted down by these little drones, though. That's some crazy stuff. You watch those videos from the Ukrainian front with the Russian war, it's nuts. All right, let's watch a little more here, guys.
Iran is fully prepared in the Persian Gulf to force Tehran to ease restrictions on passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The statement added, the IRGC's preparedness to confront various enemy actions, including ground operations, is such that even prisoners of war camps have been prepared to house potential aggressors. Iran has also restricted transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Authorities say coordinated passage is allowed for all ships except those linked to the United States, the Israeli regime, and affiliated entities. The IRGC added that Iran will continue to control transit through Hormuz even after the current conflict ends. In a related development, Iran's Central Military Command has warned that continued naval piracy, blockade, and banditry by American...
Now, this is pretty amazing. Take a look at what this looks like in the Strait of Hormuz. This is not, it's not small, but in terms of strategic, spaces, it's tight. Okay. It's just interesting when you actually get a chance to see it. I've flown over this area, the Strait of Hormuz, or close to it a few times, flying into, UAE, Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait, you name it, Iraq, all these different places, Bahrain, flying in and out of all these places at one point or another. And looking down, I would see the terrain. I was always surprised the terrain of Iran, how rough it was on the coast. I was always surprised also by just, the way the water looked, how tight it was, all these things like that. But then you see it in front of you here, and you see what it looks like. And it might be different than what you thought. All right, let's go ahead and keep going.
Forces in the region will be met with a decisive response. The Khatam al-Anbiya Central Headquarters said in a statement on April 25th that Iran's military now has greater strength and readiness to defend its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national interests. The statement added, Iran remains committed to closely monitoring enemy movements while maintaining full control.
Okay, this is just propaganda at this point. This is just silliness, okay? Yeah, they're not better off than they were. They're trying to make it sound like we are better off than we were before, and we know that's not true. That's honestly just like nonsense propaganda they're saying. I still think that they're going to fight. I still think that they're still in power, the RGC, but to say that they're actually, still in power and they're better off than ever and we're more going to kick your ass than we were going to before makes me think of the knights who say neep in what the hell is it, Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail, the night when he's getting his arms and legs cut off, and and he just won't quit, right? Who wants to see that clip? You guys want to see that clip again? Give me a fire symbol in the chat if you guys want to see that clip again, and I'll pull it back up. Yeah, I think it still is to some or lesser or greater degree armed with. Yeah, Juan Wick, should the U.S. be training with this drone warfare, seeing how successful? Yeah, I think so. And I think the big thing is that they're doing is the counter drone is what they're doing, Juan Wick. I think working on counter drone, but I think having our own drones, right? Own drone swarms, thing like that. I think we are. Again, I'm not in right now, but that's what I hear. All right, you want to see it, Ruby? Okay. And back by popular demand, we're going to see. Let's put this on because I actually think this is what they're like. Hold on, but before I put that one on, I got to put this on. I can't help it. I got to put this on. This is awesome. One second. Before I put on the night, we got to put on this. The Holy Hand Grenade. Here we go. All right. That's what I think we need. I think what they all need. And then I think, let me see, not Holy Hand Grenade, but then we need the Grail Knight. And this is what the fight is like. This is it right here. Again, Iran. And even though they're acting like, we're stronger than ever, I mean, that's basically how they are, right? They're like chopped apart right now, acting tough. But they do have some weapons, as we've said, okay? 50 to 70,000 drones they're estimating are left over. That's a lot, okay? I'm talking 10,000 is a lot, 5,000 is a lot. 50, 70,000, they could definitely cause problems in Israel, cause problems in other places. They could definitely attack the desalinization plants, the infrastructure for the GCC countries, the Gulf Cooperation, OPEC countries, okay? Gulf Cooperation countries, the oil-producing countries. They could make all kinds of problems, right? So, there's a lot to consider here, but let's look at our poll really fast. I'm glad you guys like that. You got to have some fun, too. Honestly, guys, we got to have some fun. I fully believe in that. Again, the purpose of the channel is to upgrade your life, right? For us to create strategies and plans and improve and upgrade our lives and personal growth, all these things like that, so you can win. And again, if you haven't registered for my free seminar tomorrow, I'm going to give the Ferocious Optimist framework. The link is in the chat for that. Go ahead and register. It'd be awesome. But yeah, we want to look at the ways to get ahead. The early pin. Yeah, it's so funny. So funny. But let's look at our poll. We got 17 votes. What is the new Iranian strategic response? Ship sinking undersea drone, 29%. Terror attack, 35%. New long-range missile, 35%. Okay, so we've gone further with the new long-range missile. Maybe it's the new long-range drone. But I think Cedric might have a great point about the desalinization plant attack. We could call that a terror attack. We definitely could. Again, if you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It is great to have you here. Welcome. We have the best chat on YouTube, most intelligent, most supportive, all those things, coolest chat. Everybody here can agree to disagree, and they can have discussions and all that, but very supportive, very cool, very fun chat all the way around. So let's get into our next little part here. So I think you guys are going to find this pretty interesting, okay? Pretty darn interesting. So let me get into here. Ooh. Let's see. All right. We got another thing here. We're going to play in a second. But what we're going to talk about now, okay, in line with our discussion from Wednesday. Remember we had the discussion about, we were talking about, will Pete Hegseth survive the summer? Will he make it to summer? I don't think so. Some of you were saying 3 days he's gone. I made my new timeline for 2 months. 2 months from now he's fired. Okay? We played some of the testimony. We played some of the congressional inquiry, the hard questions he was answering, how flustered he was getting, how upset he was getting, and we compared it to Pam Bondi's testimony the other day and how flustered and angry and upset and defensive and, rah Trump all the way. Her whole thing was how crazy loyal, right, to a fault, loyal to a fault. And that's the same thing he's showing right now while he's under fire. Well, I'm going to tell you, Trump doesn't like anyone to make him look bad. He doesn't like anyone staying too long either. Hegseth messed up with the whole WhatsApp or Signal chat thing. That was strike one. Now, all the questions from Congress and the way he's handling the questions, if it's bringing any more shade, Trump's going to fire him and bring someone else in. I say 2 months max. He's gone by the end of June. He's probably going to have him in for this quarter. They're going to find someone new, but I think he's going to be gone. I think he's going to be gone. Why is he firing all the generals? He's firing so many people, making so many changes, because I think he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to imitate his boss and have fresh people in there and saying, you don't like it? You don't like what he's saying? I don't like what he's saying? Fire him. Fire this one. Fire that one. Get everybody out of there, okay? Anyone who's a threat. Crazy stuff, man. So I think we look to see him out soon, but I'm going to show you a little bit more of his recent testimony because it matters and why I think he's also going to be gone, okay? Because check this out. So it turns out there are some questions out there about insider trading for Pete Hegseth. Now, Pete Hegseth denies it totally. He's saying this is a bunch of BS, a hit piece article. But I'm going to show you something afterwards from a legal analyst, a professor, who knows Senator Warren as a former law professor and lawyer who knows her stuff and how to question someone to build a case, which is what it appears to be that she's doing, okay? Again, furthermore reason why he's going to be gone, okay? I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying like, oh, this guy's such a shitbird, he did this, okay? What I'm saying is that, again, further evidence, because whether it's true or it's not true, Trump's not going to like it. He doesn't like any weakness, any BS, where he's getting flustered, he's in a weakened position. It could hurt him to get things done, all this stuff, okay? And furthermore, on top of that, okay, I'm going to add some more to this. Furthermore, give me a 1 in the chat or a fire symbol, whatever you want. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've heard that while the Secretary of War, the Department of War has outlawed Anthropic's cloud AI, okay? they have put it on the, the no-fly zone, right? They're not allowed to work with them anymore. They're on a supply risk or whatever it is, okay? They're on an intelligence risk. They can't work with them at the Department of the War. The Pentagon cannot work with Anthropic AI, Claude AI. All of a sudden, the White House is meeting with the CEO of Anthropic, okay? White House officials doing their own thing. If that doesn't tell you more that the leadership is like getting, there's space, right? There is light between President Trump's White House and Hegseth's Department of War or Department of Defense, whatever you want to say, okay? There is light between them. They are together like this. There is light. They're not close. There are things happening. Again, another piece of evidence, an indication, if you will, indication of warning that it's an indication and warning that Hegseth will be gone, okay? So watch this.
I'm also concerned about recent reporting on your own financial dealings with regard to profiting from the war in Iran. The Financial Times reported that your broker tried to buy hundreds of shares in a BlackRock fund invested in defense companies just before the war began. The law clearly prohibits the Secretary.
That entire story is false, has been from the beginning, and was made up out of whole cloth. And anybody that looks at it sees how it was worded from the beginning to make it look like I was involved in something I had nothing to do and never have. So any insinuation that I've ever profited other than serving this nation, what I give, what you give, what others give, I'm not looking for money. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for profit. I don't do it for stocks. And that's part of the reason why I'm able to be effective in this job, because no one owns me. No one owns this department. No one owns this president. And we can execute for the American people, and we do.
The law clearly prohibits the Secretary of Defense from owning stock in the 10 biggest defense contractors. Other senators and I sent you a letter with detailed questions about this, and you have not given us a response. So
apparently he owns, allegedly, possibly, okay, again, they're all trying to attack each other. These people are all trying to kill each other all the time, right? They're all trying to gain power, keep power, sink their enemies, all this stuff like that, okay? Allegedly, she's alleging that he owns stock in the part of the 10 biggest defense contracting companies, okay? Which would be a big no-no, because a lot of these guys have to liquidate all their holdings that are anything that's a conflict of interest. So she's got some great questions. And while we're talking about the update with the Iran war, we talked about it Monday, on Wednesday, today as well. But there are deeper stories here connected to it, the motivations for why we're doing it. Or if it's not a primary motivation, it's people benefiting, war profiteering. That shouldn't happen. And again, I'm not saying that there's concrete evidence here, but I'm going to play another video for you where people are saying that she's building a case to use when he's out. And again, like I said, I think he's out in the next 2 months. I remember one of you said he was out in 3 days, right? I don't think that soon, but I think they're going to give him until it might be that soon. This would be a good time to do it while there's a lull in the conflict. CENTCOM commander's got it. He's not commanding anything. He's basically the War Department press secretary right now. He's running around doing things, leading. Trump's giving him heavy guidance. He's doing what he's doing. But the COCOMs, the combatant commanders, Southcom, CENTCOM, PACOM, the PACOM, Pacific Command, Central Command, all those different, South Command, Southern Command. They really run the wars. These are the Roman proconsuls, if you will. They command all the forces, land, air, and sea, okay, for the United States. And they do not report to the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. They do not report to him. He's a figurehead, okay? So they actually do report to the Secretary of War, and also, actually, they serve at the pleasure of the president directly from the president. So a lot of the times, those people are reporting right to the president, okay? And all the myriad of influencers that he has, okay? So that's how that works. But my point is that there are other stories behind the scenes that we don't report about that much. The mainstream media is reporting about this somewhat, talking about it, but this is why we watch these testimonies, because the deeper stories, the conspiracies, all those things in congressional inquiry, congressional testimony, it comes out. because they're under oath. There's a lot of pressure. Okay. So let's watch a little bit more here.
I'd like to hear you say, did you, through your broker at Morgan Stanley or otherwise, seek to invest in any defense-related funds right before Trump started the Iran war?
I'll give it to you as a big, fat negative.
Then let me ask you a second question. Is your broker getting your personal sign-off on any investment in individual stocks?
Bigger, fatter, negative.
He's not getting your sign-off before he makes investments in defense stocks? Can I refer you to your
I'm not making
ethics
investments,
agreement?
Senator.
I am asking, does he know that he has...
So at this point, guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you think it seems like, does it seem like she knows something? She's not getting, the way she's doing this, she's saying, okay, like I got you. You know, I basically got you. Joshua says he's lying. Here's the thing, Joshua, I don't know if he's lying. I don't think, I think he is out of his realm. He's a fish out of water right now, you know, and it's too bad because, you know, I say too bad. I mean, I'm just saying they threw him into the deep end of the pool and he was like a news correspondent and he was a major in the National Guard, Special Forces, you know, let alone Special Forces too. He's not a large troop leader, right? And large formation troop leader where they do play politics a lot too. And I think he's just out of his depth. He's completely out of his depth. And so she's acting like, I got you. Okay. I got you. You know? So really crazy. And Ruby, you're saying a distraction to his ailing health. Is Hegseth sick? Is he sick? Did I know about? I don't know. Yeah, you know, guys, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. I just don't think he knows what he's doing. She looked at him. She's like, okay, you're saying you didn't approve this. You didn't. So he's wrong if he's investing, right? He's wrong if he didn't approve the investment. Either way, he's wrong. And you know they know something. You know they know something. She's building a case. Okay? She's building a case. Let's watch a little bit more.
I'm not making investments, Senator.
I am asking, does he know that he has to get your sign off before he does that?
Of course.
The
I don't know
time
what
of
you're
the
looking for, but you ain't
senator
going to
has
find
expired.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
I would like to enter into the record the ethics agreement that the Secretary of Defense has signed, that he will sign off personally before his broker makes any attempt to buy defense stocks.
Is there objection?
Thank you.
Without objection, it will be admitted.
So she just entered a full legal documented testimony piece of evidence saying she's building a case for when he's out. Okay. They're going to come after him. Just like, you know, Trump had to win the election. Otherwise he was a felon. He's a convicted felon, you know? So I don't think any of that got overturned. I think he's a convicted felon. Okay. So, and again, this is PBS News. There's not a spin for CNN. It's not a spin to Fox. It's PBS, pretty down the middle. Okay, they report it. That's why they're giving you actual footage, no commentary. You decide. You guys know I'm politically independent. Okay, I don't have any talking points or any bias one way or the other. I love our military. I love our country. Call the balls and strikes. I call as I see it. You know, just like a football coach would. And I was a football coach as well, besides being a Marine officer. And I just say what I see and what I observe and what I think. And, you know, I'll give you my best unfiltered opinions and you do with it what you want, right? And so you guys have to be critical thinkers and think of what you want. I'm not trying to convince you how to think. I just see something and I'm like, oh, okay, Trump, yeah, right. Another headache for him. 100%, Ruby, 100%. But I call it like I see it. And then, you know, like I said, I know some things. I don't know everything. I learn from you guys as well, too. So we'll all learn together and take a look at some of these things that make us go, huh? I mean, because honestly, the first segment of the show, I love talking about personal development. I love seeing people win. I love seeing people make breakthroughs in life. I love seeing people do more, be more than they ever thought they could. That's the biggest thrill I ever had in the Marine Corps. It wasn't cool stuff I did. It was working with those awesome Marines and seeing them go above and beyond and make breakthroughs in their lives, overcome fear, overcome danger, build a better team, accomplish goals they never thought they could. That fires me up. That's like my passion in life. I told you my personal mission is to be an inspirational leader to create positive, lasting change in people's lives. Okay? It's a purpose in every channel, every business I have. So that's it for me. So you know what I mean? It's like I'm not the politics guy. I'm definitely a strategist though, and I will comment and analyze the people that have the strings and the levers and buttons to push that will impact my life and your life. Okay? So we got to keep our head and eyes up and know what the hell's going on if it's going to impact our life. All right? And if we see it's too far away, it's not really going to be an impact, we focus on what we can control. Like Bill Walsh said, Coach Bill Walsh, there will be several events that happen that are outside of your control, but you need to know about these and what they are so you can prepare for them in order to overcome them. That's what we're doing, okay? All right, let's watch this next story. Here is that analysis that I talked about. I talked about some analysis now about this Pete Hegseth story. And again, I've got no personal vendetta against him. You don't see me saying, oh, he's so stupid, I hate this guy. I don't really care, okay? If he could do the job, great. But, turns out there might be some issues here, okay? And we're going to take a look at it. But here's the analysis. If I can find it. Hold on one second. This is the best way to do it. This is the best way. I find it here, and then I put it up right here. Boom. Okay, here we go. Here we go, everybody.
The clip, one of her clips has gone quite viral because she was questioning Pete Hegseth over whether he approves stock trades made by his broker, asking if he gives his personal sign-off on investments. Pete Hegseth pushed back, big fat negative is what he said. He doubled down again, saying bigger, fatter negative when he was asked if approval is needed. She points out that his ethics agreement says that he must sign off on defense stock trades. This, of course, is in conjunction with the fact that, Pete Hegseth was accused of basically investing in things that coincide with the war. There's been a lot of insider trading allegations. So what did you make of his, I guess, pushback against Elizabeth Warren?
Well, interestingly, there's been no indication that the Trump administration, through the Securities and Exchange Commission, the FBI, or anywhere else, is asking the appropriate questions about these incredibly well-timed trades that have occurred again and again and again and generated, for sure, enormous profits.
Now, this is some crazy stuff. What he's about to tell you, he's going to tell you, these are like to the tune of $500 million trades. Okay, this wasn't like Pete Hegseth's in there with his broker, like, yeah, move 50,000, move 75, move. I mean, this is a ton of money for any of us, right? But I'm saying, some of these big war bucks out there, yeah, move 10,000, move 20,000, 50,000. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, and of which for him it was probably in a very high dollar amount, enough to get the attention of the congressional committee. Like I said, it's not like he was like, yeah, let's go ahead and buy 100 shares of Boeing. Let's buy 1,000 shares of Boeing. Okay, they'd probably be like, all right, whatever. But when you start pushing around tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and other traders have this inside knowledge that they make the same trade he does, what he's going to tell you is that he's going to tell you most of the trading today on Wall Street, okay, guys, most of the trading today is actually Juan Wick. I love it, man. No, thank you. I don't think I could be president. I mean, maybe wartime, but that's too much nonsense, man. This way it can be the people's poet on YouTube right now. But thank you, brother. I appreciate the vote of confidence. So thank you, Ruby. Appreciate that. So what I want to say is that. He's pushing around a lot of money. Okay, he's pushing around a lot of money, and most of the trades people are making today are electronically driven. Like you don't touch these things. They put up parameters. They buy, sell. These were outside of the electronic devices. Like, do it now. Okay, go on there, old school, and push the button. Okay, like many traders, inside trading is what she's alleging. So not just Hegseth, but other people connected to the administration making bets 15 minutes before the president announces the war in Iran. Remember, like we woke up. You guys, first of all, remember who called the war in Iran? Who called when it was going to start? Right here on YouTube. Put a fire symbol in the chat if you were here when I said that night. I said we're going to war tonight. All right? So yeah, this is crazy stuff. So let's listen. He's about to talk about it. Okay. Betting on Brent crude oil prices, betting on defense stocks, investing in defense stocks. Okay, here we go.
Clearly somebody is leaking information. And Hegseth's answers, I think, were intended to be evasive. Even his big fat no didn't really go to the question as being asked. And Elizabeth, who I've known for about 40 years and who is a former law professor, she doesn't ask questions where she doesn't have some idea of what the appropriate answer is and what would be a lie. So once Hegseth is no longer Secretary of, he likes to say war, Secretary of Defense, he may have trouble with the testimony. And I think she's building a record to go after him for lying to Congress.
I mean, Professor, when you look at the...
Wow. So that's some big stuff there. They don't play around. And so if you notice, the one thing I thought about, and you guys tell me what you think in the chat, but the one thing I noticed was that I was like, okay, he's saying big fat negative. That's a negative. Now, it's like he anticipated the question would come, and he knows I didn't say no. I said that's a big fat negative. What does that mean? And she even said it, like, you're not answering the question. So he still protected himself by saying, well, it's a big fat negative. What does that mean? Well, it means, I don't know, they'll probably come up with something. So instead of him saying, no, ma'am, it does not. No, Senator, not at all. Very simple, very clear. Okay, confidence or very clear. It's a big fat negative. Okay, what does that mean? That's like military jargon talk. It doesn't really mean anything. I guess we could chat GPT it. You guys tell me, what does it come up with? If you say that, it means implied no. I know that, right? We know that. Military guys know that. But yeah, awesome. Yep, a lot of stuff. Where there's smoke, there's fire, you know. I wish I knew some insiders too. I'm always on the outside playing my own game. That's why, you got to be really careful. Again, like I talked about, guys, in my Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and my inner circle, we went through the power of compounding interest in my last session, okay, for the Ferocious Optimist membership itself. The inner circle is my weekly group mastermind. Awesome people in there. We meet every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then the Ferocious Optimist coaching membership is a once a month long form coaching membership over Zoom, where, we have our members in there and we do a big Q&A afterwards. It lasts for about 2 hours long. There's a whole community with challenges, and, I DM you and coach you through our private platform, okay? But in the Ferocious Optimist membership, I did a big, long lesson on Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett's rules for investing and growing wealth. And one of the things we talked about was investing in low-cost index funds and, spend less, save more. Save more, spend less, Try to make as much as you can, but whatever you're making, spend less, save more. Make it a focus, invest the difference. And he was saying even a small amount over a long time with compounding interest, you can build a fortune, okay? So this is what we talked about. So as I say, I haven't been an insider ever for those type of windfalls, but I'm going to tell you, compounding interest works. And, it's never too late to start, right? You could be 55, start now investing a certain amount, okay? And again, we discuss this in my Ferocious Optimist membership because we talk about, again, identity, energy, environment, your mindset, your health, your wealth, relationships, all those things. It's comprehensive to make you make a breakthrough in life. But again, having never been an insider, the things that work are the power of compounding. Compounding interest works. Believe it, okay? And again, anyway, that's a whole nother story there for you guys, but that's what I've seen that works. This whole insider thing and all this stuff is nuts, and they always catch you. You always get caught. Wolf of Wall Street got caught. Everybody gets caught. They always do. So, some way, shape, or form, you pay the price, right? Okay, here we go. Moving on now, guys. Let's end this poll before we do move on. We're going to move on to Russia, Ukraine really fast. And this poll, awesome. Let's see here. I love it. All right. Yeah, me too, Mark. I wish I was I wish I was an insider too. Yeah, Air Force and law enforcement officer is badass. That is for sure. Crusader, you are right about that. I love it, man. Life of service right there. Amazing. Okay, let's get into this Russia-Ukraine. Briefly. We won't go too long on this, but briefly, because we got some funny videos to watch and some stupid stuff to talk about and have a good time in our comedy section, in our satire and our fun section, the leadership lessons of South Park section. All right. I just shared that. Like I said, the easiest way is just to click here, share this. All right, here we go.
Did not have any evidence that Iran intended to imminently attack this country in any way, shape, or form.
Do you not believe them when they say death to America?
If what you're seeing as success now is winning, I would hate to see what losing looks like.
We are
Fine
2
from
months
Vladimir
into a
Putin. I
historic
hope that
military success in Iran, and you want to call it a defeat. And it's defeatist Democrats like you that cloud the mind of the American people.
No, it's not Democrats like him that cloud the mind of American people. It's when the president says, I need 4 weeks, and then he says, I need 6 weeks, and now we're in 60 days, and we're going to go at it again, it looks like, unless we stop. That's what's clouding the minds of Americans. And they're acting like everybody else, just asking the question, well, when is it over? You know, I mean, just blind following is, in this case, right? I understand team and faith and all those things like that, and, and letting leaders do their jobs, but this is, again, the math isn't mathing. That's what he's saying here, okay? Old Pete's getting beaten up pretty well there. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth getting beaten up pretty good. We already covered this. And here's where I really want to go. Okay. Here we go. Ukraine strikes Russian oil refinery. Let's watch.
Apocalyptic scene, an aerial view of a Russian oil refinery hit by Ukrainian drones. A witness describes the aftermath as oil falling from the sky. It's the third strike in 12 days on the Tuapse oil refinery on the Black Sea. Russian President Vladimir Putin is now facing serious economic problems, as our Fred Plykin reports from Moscow.
Another day, another massive fire at a Russian oil refinery. This time near Perm in the Ural Mountains, the installation hit overnight by Ukrainian drones. Kyiv has launched a massive aerial war of attrition against Russia's main economic lifelines, oil and gas. A few days ago, drones struck a refinery in Tuapse in the south, leading to a massive toxic blaze that took days to extinguish. Drone strikes against civilian infrastructure are becoming more frequent, Russian President Vladimir Putin admits. The latest example involves strikes on energy facilities in Tuapse, which could potentially lead to serious economic consequences. And serious security consequences as well. Moscow announcing it's drastically scaling back the annual May 9th Victory Day parade, commemorating the defeat of Nazi Germany, just as first rehearsals get underway in the Russian capital. Vladimir Putin even offering to observe a ceasefire on that day, as the Kremlin acknowledges Ukraine's bombardment makes securing a large event unfeasible. Against the backdrop of this terrorist threat, all measures are, of course, being taken to minimize the.
So here's the thing, guys. Like I said before, Putin had threatened to attack Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Finland as well, too, for any attacks that are occurring inside Russian territory where they allow, the drones to fly over their airspace. And if we look here, here's the map of Ukraine and Russia. This is the Russian front, Ukraine-Russia war front, okay? And again, as I've pointed out before, if you look, here's Ukraine, and then we're over here. Here's Lithuania, okay, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland. So they're allowing them to fly from Ukrainian territory, okay? And there's only one way they could do this, right? It has to be also through Poland. So Poland is on the chopping block as well, and Belarus is an ally of Russia, okay? So flying through Poland, if you can see my cursor, through Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, to strike into Russian territory near St. Petersburg, etc. because that's where they have their weakest air defenses for the drones, for the Ukrainian drones, okay? And also their weakest early defense systems. And just of note, while we're looking at this, here's Iran, map of Iran. You can see it's a little quieter, obviously, than the Ukrainian war, Ukraine-Russia war. But what I want to draw your attention to is the connection. Here's Tehran, where this megaphone is, okay? Caspian Sea connected to Russia. And this is Tehran, where Moscow, where the other megaphone is. Moscow here, Tehran here. And there's the Caspian Sea. They could deliver all the munitions they want to. And what they're saying is they're alleging that the Russians are providing SA-400s, surface-to-air missiles, and also anti-ship missiles as well. That could cause a real problem for U.S. forces in the Gulf. That might be the new thing. We don't know. Intelligence estimates have said that the Russians are providing that now, shipping it to them. So that might be exactly what's going on, and they're trying to answer back the U.S. for the different weapons they've shipped over the years to Ukraine, okay? And I saw, Crusader, you were saying about the Tomahawks going to Ukraine. Yes, but the only thing is that the United States last week said we can't make good on the delivery of armaments to NATO, and I think Ukraine as well, too, while this war is going on with Iran. Even though they've already paid for them, they said we still can't deliver them, okay? Let's go back to Ukraine and Russia. Again, very hot war. Lots of infantry fighting, lots of bombing. This is a regular thing every day. 1 million casualties on the Russian side and counting plus. Okay, let's watch a little bit more here.
Danger, the Kremlin spokesman says. Russia's ongoing combat operations also taking an increasing toll on Moscow's economy, recently contracting. Videos like these springing up on social media. Olga Sidorova from Chelyabinsk saying she's forced to close down her clothing stores after 16 years. I started selling clothes in my apartment. Now it's a chain of stores. Everybody knows my stores in the city. But now the time has come to say goodbye to my so-called child. This is like a little death for me. Tatiana Semkina in Omsk in Siberia saying she's shutting her cafe after 20 years. We've run out of energy and no longer have the financial means to continue, she says.
Wow, so they're really feeling it. They're really feeling this war. And Ukraine is using asymmetric warfare, right? They're using total war. They're attacking infrastructure, energy sources, oil. So the economy is getting home to the Russian people. So what does that mean? What does it mean? And I'm going to put the next poll up here, guys. The next poll is, let me see, will Putin get thrown out of office? That's a revolution, whatever you want to call it. Military coup, whatever you want to say. Vote it out. There's another election coming, guys. There's another election coming for Russia, okay? Let's see. Let's watch, okay? And I'm asking that because we just saw how things are going there, but let's get a little reflection from Russia itself, from some Russians themselves right here.
There was a recent Levada pollster poll. What about the emotions that people have about the war, the special military operation again? And the most popular answer is, I'm fed up with it. This emotion, we are fed up, we are so done with this war, is the major emotion that Russians now have about this war. And again, it's shared by Putin's loyal base, and it's increasing within the loyal base of Vladimir Putin.
That's some crazy stuff right there. You know, to hear this is increasing in the base of Vladimir Putin is definitely, not Not what you expect, frankly. Putin, who once seemed untouchable, right? Yeah, I agree, Crusader. You're right. I mean, you're right. At least Trump has a relationship with Putin. The next one, we don't know. And he might act all nicey nice at first, right? But who knows? Who the hell knows? I don't know. Scary. Yeah, no, Frosty, you're right. I mean, it's war. That's what happens. I mean, Ukraine is jacked up beyond belief. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, guys, so answer the poll. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're new here, welcome. But we got a lot of stuff happening, okay? And as always, I'm going to put a little bit of we're going to go to our Straits tracker really fast. We have not looked at this yet tonight. And I got another video here that I want to show you guys about, again, reinforcing the fact that Ukraine is really taking the fight to Russia with this asymmetric style with the drones. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And Juan Wick, you're right about that. We do need to really pay attention to what's going on with this type of warfare.
Ukraine waited for Russian commanders to gather at the Sevastopol naval base and then struck. On the night of April 25th, the SBU's Alpha unit.
So this is this week, guys. This is this week. They waited for Sevastopol naval base to be filled by Russia's officers and commanders. And they felt safe. They're like, yeah, they're not going to get us down here. There's no way they're going to get us down here. They didn't have a Navy. They did a couple drone attacks before, sank a battleship, but come on. They don't even know about this meeting. Watch this.
Unit leveled 8 targets in Crimea with a simultaneous drone strike. 3 warships, a MiG-31, a radar station, and Belbek Airfield's technical facilities. But the real heart of the operation was 2 critical facilities: the Lukomka Training Center and the Air Defense Radio Technical Intelligence Headquarters. All signs indicate that Ukraine struck these 2 facilities at exactly the moment when personnel density was at its peak. Russia hasn't made any official casualty announcement, but this silence itself is an answer. And the intelligence and planning depth behind this operation is as striking as the strike itself. The strike carried out by the SBU Alpha unit on the night of April 25th to 26th, 2026, was not an ordinary drone raid. It was a surgical operation, the product of months of intelligence work. And what shows this most clearly is the target selection itself. 2 of the 8 targets hit were facilities where the probability of senior Russian command personnel being present was highest, meaning Ukraine appears to have planned.
All right, so we know that we see example after example of the Ukrainians really taking it to the Russians, okay? I mean, they nailed them with the oil refineries. They're causing an energy shortage. They're causing an economic crisis. They're running out of people, right? All these things. And so, yeah, no, come on in, John, definitely. John, go ahead and sign up and get in there. You can't make it the first part. Don't worry about it. You show up for as much as you can. I'll do the big Q&A at the end. And you come and stay for the Q&A is probably just as good as the rest of it. So come on in there. It'd be great to have you. Guys, again, the link to my free seminar is in the chat. It is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. And I'd love to have you there. It'll be great. It's a big Zoom call, private Zoom. It'd be a handful of people there. It'll be fun. I get to answer your questions and teach you guys about my Ferocious Optimist framework for elite high performance, okay? So again, the Ukrainians are really taking it to the Russians, though. These attacks in the Russian mainland, oil refineries, their economy, they're killing their people. Lots of problems. Now we're seeing real-life stories of economic trouble and problems inside different parts of Russia due to energy shortage, economic hardships, so on and so forth, okay? And now making a hit against their naval command, which, these are very expensive assets. When you take out ships and fighters and things like that with a little drone, and these drones, these bigger drones for Ukraine, I think these are more like, in the order of $10,000 to $25,000, something like that. They're making them for, okay? Not even like the Shahid drones for $50,000. These are again Ukrainian homegrown drones. So this is why Putin's in so much trouble. This is why there's so many problems over there. Okay. And let's keep on rolling. Let me look at our poll real quick because it's about time, guys. It's about time for the leadership lessons of South Park. But there's no South Park tonight. Just some blooper videos and some good other stuff, which will be fun. Stick around for it, though. You're going to love it. Will Putin get thrown out of office? 25% yes, 75% no. Okay, we're going to see. You're going to see. 6 minutes ago, 16 votes. If you did not vote in our poll yet, please vote so we can see what people are thinking. We can all learn together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Doesn't hurt you one bit. Helps the channel. I'd be very grateful. Thank you. And it's great to have all you guys here. Let's get right into it. Well, what the hell? Let's jump right in. Give me a fire symbol, guys. If you're ready for the leadership lessons of South Park, give me a fire symbol in the chat. Let's get this thing going so I know we're ready. I'm going to play the drum roll right now so I know everybody's ready. We're going to drum roll this thing. For the leadership lessons of South Park, give me a fire symbol in the chat if you are ready. The drum is still rolling, so I see those fire symbols coming in. Give me that fire symbol to see that you're ready for leadership lessons of South Park. We are ready to rock and roll. I see it. Ruby's ready. Awesome. Who else is ready? Who else is ready? We're gonna play a little bit of our music here, and
powered by Riverside FM.
All right, that was nice. I don't know what that was. It was something. That's a little transition. What's this song? A little fancy music, huh? This is our waiting room music. Nice. Woo! This is some great. Try a little funk out. Try a little funk out time. Let's do this. Leadership Lessons of South Park. Drum roll time. And here we are with the leadership lessons of South Park. Not perfectly timed, but almost. I don't even know. I watched like the first 5 seconds of this, so I'm gonna see it with you guys. And here we go. I don't even know what we're gonna get, but I'll react with you.
Who am I? Why am I here?
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
What?
I am black. I am gay. I am disabled.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm a Christian. I'm not ashamed to say that I believe in God and I believe in His Word.
These are so corny.
And I just love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we still have to learn. Like, I love that.
I will lead the country through tumultuous events. That's what I believe I can do because I learned how to do it when I was governor of the state of Florida.
Yeah, I know you can do it.
Everyone was as perfect. I wish everyone was as perfect as you, Pete.
I couldn't imagine somebody like Osama bin Laden understanding the joy of Hanukkah.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go.
All
but
right. Bed. Fast forward her off.
I believe these words came from the Pokemon movie.
What?
The media pointed that out.
This is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real. The Green New Deal, surprise, serves China and China only.
And two things, if you're going to date one of my daughters,
respect
and
a healthy appreciation for the Second Amendment.
Look at this guy.
But he's also an amazing dad. Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching math.
This is like the ultimate ass kissing I've ever seen in my life. You know, honestly, what in the hell is going on? Wow.
Listen to talk.
Make America great again.
I want to tell you this. I was in Israel, and I was talking to some Israeli and Palestinian peacemakers. And I said, I'm telling you the truth. I said, well, you know, the Great Mother doesn't choose sides. According to Avatar, the Great Mother doesn't choose sides. She's there to protect balance.
No idea what she's talking about.
She doesn't pick a winner. She protects balance. And do you know what the Palestinian?
Oh, wait, this is James Cameron, the great Avatar. What the hell is she talking about? What in the world? Using an Avatar analogy with the Israelis and Palestinians. What in the world? Oh my gosh. All right.
And then the Israelis in the room, you know their reaction?
That's what they say. They thought about it.
They
That's
nodded.
good.
And I think it was because some of them had seen Avatar.
Hillary. This is like, that's like this. James Cameron's like, what the hell are you talking about? This is kooky land. This is absolutely nuts. What in the hell?
All of that is not investigated. President Trump is investigated because they're scared that he's running and he will win again.
And today, we greet the President of United Earth.
This is so random.
Madam President.
All right, random.
Sucking a ding dong.
What? What? I had no idea. Honest to God, guys, I don't watch this ahead of time. What in the world? What is the context of this? There we go.
Madam President. Madam President. Welcome.
There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding dong. And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen.
What the hell?
I never sucked any ding dongs.
What the hell is going on?
When you go there, okay, you're from Kansas. When you go there, okay, you're from Kansas.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Wow, poor guy, man. Poor guy. What is this?
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, will be to save Texas.
That's the diversity.
All right. Next video. Guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you're ready for the next video. Or if you want to keep going. Give me a fire symbol if you want to keep going with this video. Give me a 1 if you're ready to go to the next video. Honest to God, some of this was nuts. Some of this was nuts. Oh my gosh. Very interesting. Very interesting. Fire symbol to keep going with this video. Give me a 1 if you want to go to the next video. I'm ready to move on to the next one. But I'll stay on this for 1 more minute if you guys want to stay here. All right, you want to keep going, Frosty? Crusader says 1, move on. Flying Phoenix says move on. Mark says move on. Joshua says move on. Frosty. Tired of seeing Democrats. Yeah. It's so painful. I know. Some of it was like, caught me off guard. Honestly, that was like nuts. Yeah, you did, Frosty. That's okay. But I have more. Wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. All right. Here's one I found. Have not watched it. Let's see.
First full day as president. We're back.
I'm glad Trump's here at the moment. Looks like daddy arrived and he's taking his belt off.
I'm glad he acknowledges that I'm a good boy. I am a good boy.
They don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Right? For $5 million, this could be yours. I hereby give myself $1 billion. I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. A lot of people are saying maybe we...
Do you guys remember this moment with Elon Musk? Hold on 1 second. Elon Musk.
I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
So Elon Musk was at... keeps on going. Hold on.
$1 billion. I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free...
All right, Elon Musk was at Mar-a-Lago, and I guess they caught him on camera. He was over there like building, like structures with spoons and forks and things. And President Trump walks over and goes, Elon, what the hell are you doing? And you see these people are like, what in the world is going on with this dude? He's like really is the billionaire, eccentric, crazy man. So pretty funny. Pretty funny. All right, here we go.
Plane. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. You better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. See you in court.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Have you said thank you once?
It's somewhat voluntary, but it's also if you don't answer, I guess you get fired.
Do you think he violated the law?
Well, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it.
Wait a second. Did he say
he fired?
Do you think he violated the law?
Do you think he violated the law? Well, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it.
Technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it.
If you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. but I'm very competent.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect.
Nobody was texting war plans.
Either he was lying to us on Sunday, or he's incompetent.
How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then then somehow it gets sucked in.
I always say you have to learn.
This is some nonsense, man. This is some craziness. All right. Give me a 1 in the chat if you're ready to move on. Give me a fire symbol if you want to stay with this video. 1's next. We get next. He is the Lisa can't take it anymore. 1 in the chat if we're ready to move on. Fire symbol if we want to stay with this video. I'm the people's poet here. I'll do what you guys want. Me too, Mark. Me too. I found them tonight. I was like, okay, I'll throw these in there. Next. Lisa says next. He is the law. Paradox. I thank God. Okay. Fire symbol to stay with this video. 1 to move it on. I am merely a servant on the YouTube. I'm here to serve you guys. Let's go. Brian Plummer, 1. Everyone's saying 1. Juan Wick, 1. Joshua, 1. We're moving on. We're moving on to the next one. Just pure nonsense at this point, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. This is just going to be pure nonsense. Here we go. Pure nonsense.
All right. Let's do this. Let's kick things off with a warning on what not to do when you're on a boat.
Go ahead if you want.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, can you imagine? What a dummy. What a freaking dummy. This is someone.
That's not good.
Okay.
Sailboat.
So in the Naval Academy, I learned a lot about, sailboats and stuff like that. I had a license for sailboats, but just in boats in general, this is someone who doesn't understand that when something's moving in the water, it takes a long time to slow it down. This is kind of like strategic plans. Once something's set in motion, sometimes it takes a while to slow it down and stop it or to turn it, okay? This person had too much speed going into the drawbridge. Crasho. Absolutely nuts.
Guys, okay? Wow. Holy cow.
It was up. It was coming down. I don't think he saw you. It's all the way up. It was, but it was coming. He didn't see you. He didn't know you were coming.
You didn't radio in.
He didn't see you. He didn't know you were coming.
This guy should count his blessings and call it a day.
Oh my gosh, look at this. What? Holy crow.
Hey! Садись!
Oh, he just missed it. I thought he was dead.
By the time the captain realized there was no one at the helm, it was already too late. Thankfully, everyone on board remained safe.
Oh my God, look at this. What? They gotta be wasted. What's wrong with them? What kind of idiots are these?
Oh my God.
Oh, they're done. They're done. They're gonna get swamped. Oh, they got swamped. All right, we're moving on to the next one. Stupid things on boats was good, but I think this one's a little better. Gotta have a little fun, guys. Here we go. Last one.
Hello, everyone.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Destroyed.
Oh my God.
What in the world? She got crushed.
At Barry Island Beach, and there's no sign to stop.
You say wow. Suck it.
No.
Suck it.
No.
Suck it.
No.
She's done. She's still getting out. Still getting out of the water. Oh man, there's surprised he hung onto that phone. They're getting destroyed. What? Oh, what a dunce. What a dunce cap. How did he think of this? How did he think this through?
Damn it.
Why doesn't he have a metal ramp? Oh, this you know it's going to be bad. This one's going to be terrible. It's going to be really bad. Oh my God. He's lucky he didn't get wrapped up on that. Dunce. That's awesome. Oh no, seriously?
Oh my God.
Are those sharks? No, it's just her getting slammed. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, that is terrible. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. What in the world? Oh.
This guy thought the woman was sitting on someone else's car.
I'm getting ready to take off. If you mind getting off my car.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
The truth really hit his self-esteem.
That my car here.
That guy's actually pretty funny.
2, 1. No.
Nice. Nice. All right. That's going to close it out. That's the best I had for you tonight with our comedy segment. I got to wait for them to have a new season of South Park. All right, everybody. It's been great to have you here. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. Give me a fire symbol in the chat if you guys had a good time tonight, if you learned something, if you had fun. And I had a lot of fun. I'm going to put my own fire symbol in the chat right now. Awesome to be here with you guys. Again, tomorrow I'm having my free live seminar on Zoom. The link is in the chat. Go ahead and sign up for it. Love to have you there. We're going to do a great Q&A afterwards. I'm going to present my Ferocious Optimist framework for elite high performance. It'll be awesome. Again, if you guys are interested in working with me, the link is in my bio for one-on-one discovery call. If you want to book a one-on-one session to talk about working with me one-on-one as a client, or if you want to join my Ferocious Optimist community and membership, the links are all in the bio. I'd love to have you guys there. And just click on those. There's a video. You can learn more about it. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It's awesome to have you guys. Believe in yourselves. I believe in you. Like I always say, make yourselves better, make the world better. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. But if I don't, I will see you Monday. Have an amazing weekend and go get yours. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate your support. Awesome to have you guys here. Best chat on YouTube. We're going to close it out with a little round of applause right now. A little round of applause for the best chat in YouTube. Woo! Round of applause for you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Great to see you. And maybe we'll close it out with a little bit of this music we got. A little funkadelic music we got, right? All right. We're out of here. See you guys. Take care. Thank you.